Let's start the story with what we know about creatures called the Itarim. These creatures were of the same kind as the Absolute Being, whom the rulers ultimately killed. The important thing is that these creatures live for a very long time, and because of this, they grew bored. They found a form of entertainment that made them happy, which was watching the wars of their disciples, like the ones between monarchs and rulers. For them, these wars were fun, and it didn't matter how many people were killed or how many lives were lost. The only thing that mattered was their own enjoyment. Then, as we saw, because of the Absolute Being's actions, the rulers rebelled against him and killed him. When the other Itarim beings in other dimensions found out about this, they all gathered in the world where he was killed and began to observe it. This was not because they cared about the Absolute Being's death, but because they coveted the power that had lost its master. They all sought to acquire this power first. We went to the school where Suho was. We saw him sitting with some of his friends, telling them that he was going to enroll in the Korean National University of Arts. His friends were very surprised, and some of them were upset by his decision, but Suho was very happy that he was finally free. But at that moment, while Suho was standing with his friends, someone came up to him and congratulated him, asking if he was going to attend art school. Suho looked at the person, who was the red-haired boy who had beaten him up before. The red-haired boy started mocking Suho because he didn't expect him to have any talent for drawing. Suho replied, "You're second, Kim Sung-chul." The boy said, "I'm not Kim Sung-chul, I'm Yun-chul." The red-haired boy, Yun-chul, was very angry that Suho got his name wrong. Because of Suho, his plan to control the school had failed. Suho responded by telling him that it was thanks to him that he was able to graduate safely. A big commotion started in the classroom because all the students thought a fight was going to break out between Suho and Yun-chul. And indeed, the foolish Yun-chul started getting ready to attack Suho, but before he could even throw a punch, Suho hits him in the face, and Suho put him in a chokehold. "Please, stay calm until we graduate," Suho said. But at that moment, Suho noticed something. He saw that Yun-chul was trying to punch him again, and he was smiling. Strangely, a power appeared on Yun-chul's hand. Suho prepared for the punch, knowing that if it hit him, it would hurt him badly. Yun-chul directed the punch at Suho, but at the last moment, Suho managed to dodge it. Suho was very shocked by the power of the blow, and even the other students were shocked. We see that Yun-chul's punch destroyed the cabinet that was next to Suho because of its power, and a strange energy surrounded Yun-chul's body. Suho was on the ground, very shocked by the power that remained in the red-haired boy. We learn that 2 years after this incident, he moved on to university and is now a second-year student. He is walking down the street, looking for something. The surprise is that this thing is a gate that appeared in the middle of the street. We learn that hunters entered that gate, which was a D-rank gate. It is clear that everything was in vain because the gates and the hunters returned once again. Suho is upset by the appearance of another gate and begins to explain the situation to us. He tells us that these gates began to appear 3 years ago, and, because of them, the world has changed dramatically. These gates are passageways connected to dungeons, and after a certain period, monsters emerge from them to threaten people. Because of the appearance of these strange creatures, some changes also occurred among people. For the first time, individuals appeared who had the ability to deal with the monsters, and they were known as the Awakened. The chaos that existed in the world was quickly resolved. We learn that one of the Awakened founded an association called the Hunters Association. Who do you think the Hunters were, my friend? The Hunters were, naturally, the military. Because of this, people were divided into Awakened Hunters and ordinary, unawakened people. We see a man sitting somewhere, drawing and talking to himself, saying that because of this, the unawakened are painfully aware of their limitations. No matter how hard you try as an unawakened person, you can never bridge the gap between you and an awakened person of the lowest rank. The surprise, my friend, is that we see that Yun-chul is now able to beat Suho with ease because Yun-chul has become awakened. If you don't remember, Suho cannot use his powers at all because Jin sealed his powers. So he is now just like a normal human being, unless, of course, Jin returns his powers to him. He continues his conversation with himself. He is upset by the memory that if the hunters had not closed the gates, the world would have been destroyed. In other words, the unawakened would not be able to survive without the awakened. But on the contrary, the awakened can survive without the unawakened, which is why they are very important. Thanks to them, an unawakened person like him can live in peace. But he has a strange feeling of unease because he has become accustomed to not having what he cannot obtain. We learn the shocking truth, my friend, which is that one day, Suho's parents, who were his only family, disappeared from his life. Not only that, but he now has to rely on others to survive. When he thinks back to the time when he felt he could achieve anything, and then suddenly everything he had disappeared, he felt a great sense of helplessness. He always remembered his mother saying that he was like his father, so he always wondered what his father would have done if he had been in the same helpless situation. But then someone distracted him from his thoughts and came to help him. It was his art teacher's assistant, who asked him what he was drawing. He told him that he was drawing what he was thinking about. The assistant saw that his drawing was wonderful. He was drawing ants and was surprised by what he had drawn. We see the drawing, which is Beru, and the scene shifts to one of the gates, where we see hunters coming out, having successfully cleared it. But they need to tell the other hunters something important. They saw a new type of monster, a humanoid monster that breathes blue fire from its eyes and mouth and attacks with claws and fangs, but it was weak. The hunter who is speaking sees that these monsters pose little threat. We see a small wound on his shoulder, which had been caused by one of these monsters. Suddenly, blue flames began to emerge from the wound, and something strange happened to the hunter. He entered a strange state, and the people who tried to call out to him were surprised. But then, the hunter took on a terrifying appearance, transforming into one of the monsters. He started attacking those around him, and killed one of the workers who was there. His fellow hunters were shocked and noticed that he had become the same monster that was in the dungeon. But at that moment, the monster hunter started attacking them and killed them all with ease. All the people at the scene fled, screaming and terrified. The savage hunter continued to kill the rest of the people. Suho, who hears a noise in the street and sees many people, by watching from the window. He is surprised and goes to see what is happening. But when he looks, he sees that the people in front of him are terrified. People are attacking each other, and anyone who is attacked turns into a mist-burn monster. The people who are there with Suho want to flee quickly before the monsters reach them. But there are others who want to stay where they are until the hunters arrive. Some of them start shouting at the teacher's assistant because he is awakened, asking him to do something. But the assistant tells them that he can't because he is just a E-rank hunter. He stands among them, looking at something, terrified. That something is one of the monsters standing on a building, getting ready to jump. It jumps, and at that moment, Suho starts yelling at those around him to run away. But before they can move, the monster reaches them and starts attacking. Everyone in the area is terrified and starts trying to run away. Even Suho starts to run. But as he tries to escape, he notices a girl lying on the ground, unable to move because her legs are injured. The girl begs him to help her, but because he knows he cannot fight that monster, he leaves her and runs away, telling her that he will call the hunters and that there is nothing he can do. He is scared and he cannot do anything, and he is upset that he is so weak. He starts to say to himself as he tries to think of a solution, Blaming the situation will not change anything. Look for something you can do, Song Suho. If it were my father, what would he do in this situation? He stops and thinks about his father. Then we go back to the girl, who is standing in front of the monster as it approaches her. The girl is very scared and crying. At that moment, the monster lunges at her and is about to kill her. But before the monster reaches her, Song Suho arrives, gathers his strength, and strikes the monster very hard with a fire extinguisher. If it were my father, he would have definitely tried. Suho had a dream once. It was like a game in which he defeated monsters that grew stronger with each floor he climbed. He kept fighting over and over again until his strength gave out. He climbed the floors, and the monsters got stronger and stronger. So he slit their throats, overcoming many obstacles and challenges until he reached the last floor where the strongest monster was. Even though it was his enemy, its strength was enviable, and it was also respected and gentle. Who was this final monster? It was his father. Perhaps his image was reflected in his dreams, for he is a strong and reliable father. How could his father be defeated by someone with such overwhelming power? If you were in my position, you would surely do what I am trying to do. After he struck the monster, he began to think to himself, "What am I doing? I heard that attacks from the unawakened without magical powers don't work on monsters. It seems I was reckless." But at that moment, he noticed something, and everything around him stopped moving. What is this? Time has stopped. A notification appeared. You have fulfilled the conditions to complete the secret mission, Courage of the Weak. You have gained the qualifications to become a player. Do you want to accept? This situation is like the one in that dream. If the situation is really like a dream, is there any reason for me not to accept in this desperate situation? He begins to hesitate, but then, full of energy, he says, "I accept. Welcome, player." At that moment, he gets the same rewards that Jin got, acquiring abilities like Candiara's Blessing, and is not affected by any poisons and immune to all status effects. The system informs him that this will help him grow, and that he is no longer in a dream. He has only one life, so he must be careful. A window appears, showing his current situation. His stats are as we saw them before, all 10, and he is currently at level 1. This situation is like a game, and the system gives him another important task, which is part of the tutorial. He must defeat the monster in front of him to advance to the next level. At this moment, the monster he hit is getting up again, but it's not alone. All the people it attacked have also turned into monsters, and there are now 2 of these unawakened mist-burn monsters. He then notices that time has started moving again, so he starts yelling at the girl to run away. He notices that the monsters have names and ranks above their heads. There are 2 unawakened monsters and 1 of D rank. The 3 monsters start attacking Suho. Suho is filled with enthusiasm and confidence at that moment and starts attacking the monsters with all his courage. He throws the fire extinguisher at the first monster and finishes it off. Because of his great strength, the monster is thrown through the ceiling and hangs there. Suho is very shocked by the force he has gained and realizes that he has defeated the mist-burn monster. But then he sees a second one attacking him. He reacts quickly, kicking the monster with all his strength and killing it with 1 blow. Because of this, his level rises, and the tutorial is complete. He knows from the system that now he has received his reward and is asked if he wants to check it. He launches an attack on the last monster, punching it, but surprisingly, his punch is not enough to kill it. Suho is shocked that he couldn't even damage it. The monster simply pushed him away and aimed a very powerful blow at him with its claws, which hit him deeply in the chest. But he pushed himself away from the monster and tried to regain control of himself. Damn it, will I turn into this demonic monster? Will the system let him turn into a monster? No, Because at that moment, a passive skill called Longevity appears that will heal his wounds. Thinking about it, he thinks he saw it a moment ago in the status window. We see the monster attack Suho again in his current state, and because Suho wasn't focused, the monster pounces on him and knocks him to the ground. Suho tries to fight back, knowing that since he is weaker than this D-rank monster, it means he is still at the lowest levels. I need a way to succeed. He accepts the reward. The first reward is 5 ability points. The second reward is that his strength stat has increased from 11 to 14. At that moment, he is filled with energy, starts shouting loudly, and pushes the monster away with all his strength. The monster regains its balance, but when Suho hits it, the blow has no effect on it. The monster is able to grab him with its claws for the second time. I cannot defeat it with my current strength. In this situation, I will use all the points I have earned as a reward for strength. Suho's strength increases from 14 to 19. Sure enough, Suho begins to feel the energy. For the first time in his life, he hears about a power that can permanently raise one's level. Because a hunter's rank is determined at the moment of awakening, so no one can become stronger than their rank. We see that at that moment, Suho's face is extremely angry. The beast is greatly hurt. I don't know who decides strength, the level of awakening, or the apparent level in the system, but I don't care as long as I get the strength to leave this miserable building. Suho continues to strike the beast. We go to the room opposite Suho's, and we see that the wall in that room starts to crack and crumble due to the impact of his punches. He continues to punch the monster harder and faster to knock it away from him. Then he stands there exhausted from the use of his powers. A notification from the system tells him that he has defeated it, and that his level has been raised twice. He is very happy that he was able to win, and sits on the ground to rest a little, feeling extremely happy that he is finally awakened. But at that moment, he hears a loud scream. I can do it now that I'm awakened. I can save people and end this disastrous situation. Let's go outside the building where Suho is. We see one of the monsters running towards the building. It jumps once, and Suho is standing at the window. Suddenly, he finds the monster in front of him. This monster is stronger than the previous ones because it is C-class. At that moment, a huge explosion occurs due to the monster's tremendous power. We see that an emergency alarm is spreading throughout the city, and the authorities are trying to evacuate the residents near the dungeon. We see a group of army personnel standing near the dungeon, and their commander says, "Damn, people are dying right now, and I'm standing here watching them. When will the hunters from the Hunters Association arrive?" Solitaire says, "Sir, I think it takes a long time to assign hunters of B-class or higher. Didn't you say that this dungeon is D-class? Okay. It seems that the Hunters Association assumes that the hunters are infected." The soldier starts looking at the infected hunters, but is shocked to see that one of them is a C-class hunter. Let's go back to the C-class monster and Suho. Suho is lying on the ground with the monster in front of him. What is this? It scared me. It came from the lower floor and bumped into me when I wasn't paying attention. The monster in front of him is C-rank, and this monster is different from the others because it is holding a weapon. Suho is confident because he is still an awakened person. But at that moment, the monster attacks him with a very fast strike, which Suho manages to dodge. The attack is very powerful, and Suho is shocked by the monster's terrifying strength. The monster looks terrifying as it raises its sword to strike Suho, but before it can attack, Suho attacks it with his fire extinguisher, and the monster easily breaks it. At that moment, Suho runs out of the room, and smoke spreads throughout. Suho takes advantage of the opportunity to escape. He realizes that it is very difficult for him to deal with a monster like this, and wonders about the hunters. But at that moment, the monster comes out of the room and starts looking at him with a terrifying look. but strangely, it smiles while looking away. Suho is surprised and looks at it, but the monster ignores him because it has seen some ordinary humans nearby who have not run away because they are waiting for the hunters. The beast lunges at them with its sword, trying to kill them. At that moment, we hear a scream, and we see that the beast has indeed attacked them. Suho notices this and becomes enraged, deciding that he will not let the monster win. He lunges at the beast and kicks it with all his might in the face. He must stop this beast. But here's the shock, my friend. Suho's kick didn't kill the beast. It just turned around and attacked Suho, but he was able to dodge it. I'm going to die if I let it hit me once, but I can't let it get away. Suho and the beast start fighting. He dodges its attacks with skill and agility and continues to throw powerful punches at the monster, determined to defeat it. Then he jumps into the air and kicks the monster in the face, but because of his low level, the monster is able to use its sword to wound him. A very deep wound in his stomach leaves him unable to move and bleeding profusely. At that moment, the monster kicks him, sending him flying far backward, where he crashes into the wall and bleeds even more, unable to move. The monster approaches him. His health is at 1 out of 140. I'm lucky that the system doesn't want to let me die yet. At that moment, we see that there is a strange barrier still in place. The monster continues to approach Suho. The barrier we saw cracks and Suho, unable to stand, falls down. The monster has launched itself at Suho, about to strike him, and Suho's fatigue is at 99. The monster is about to cut off Suho's head and finish him off, but at that moment, the barrier is destroyed, and something comes out faster than the speed of light. That thing launches itself towards Suho and the monster, and in a split second, it lands on the monster's hand that was attacking Suho, cutting it off. Suho falls to the ground and starts looking at that thing, about to faint. Ants are swarming over him, and he is drowning in his own blood in the middle of the debris. Then, a hand reaches out to Suho and treats him. Unfortunately, we arrived too late, guys. This monster has attacked our precious king. Beru arrives at the scene to save Suho's life. In a split second, Beru destroys the monster's body. We see another monster attacking the teacher's assistant. The teacher's assistant is very weak and doesn't know what to do. He closes his eyes out of fear and continues to scream. But at that moment, we see that the body of the monster that was attacking him begins to crumble into pieces. Shadow soldiers begin to spread throughout the city to easily defeat all the monsters and save the lives of all humans. In a matter of moments, they are able to easily destroy all the monsters. The army soldiers are very surprised by what is happening. We return to Beru and Suho and see that Suho has fallen to the ground and Beru is bowing in front of him. I haven't seen you in a long time. At that moment, we see memories of Suho's childhood when he was drawing in his room. Someone comes to him and says, "Did you draw me, Suho?" This touches my heart deeply. We return once again to Suho in the present, who is beginning to wake up from his coma and is now in a hospital bed, very surprised to find himself there. After some time has passed, his uncle is talking to him, very worried about him, asking if he was seriously injured and saying that he will get him a bodyguard. But Suho refuses and tries to reassure his uncle. We learn that 2 days have passed since the gate incident, which caused a huge commotion throughout Korea because these strange mist-burn monsters caused huge losses. Not only that, but even the police were infected by them. It was very strange that the police were slow to respond, even though the incident took place in the city center. When the police finally arrived, they were shocked by what they saw, because there was no sign of the mist-burn monsters, which had been destroyed by strange creatures. Rumors began to spread about what had happened. We see Suho, who is still in the hospital, watching the news and realizing that everything that happened was not just a dream. He is happy to notice that his level has risen to 5, and all his stats are 14 except for strength, which is 22. He is very surprised because he is sure that he was injured in his fight with the monster. So how is he still alive? Did you expect that Suho was there alone in the room? Of course not. Beru was there with him to check on him. He starts telling him that this is because he healed him, which is very surprising. We see Beru's shadow on the ground. It's been a long time since we last met, but Beru doesn't finish his sentence and starts crying. Young master, how did time pass so quickly? Seeing you overwhelms me with emotions. Memories come flooding back like shards of glass. I know this ant monster well. It is one of the monsters that stayed with me when I was a child. When I forgot everything about them, I wonder, is it you, Beru? I have traveled all this distance between dimensions to see you, my lord. I spent all my childhood with these black creatures. There are many questions that plague me. At that moment, Suho says to Beru, before anything else, I don't remember you being this size at all. That's because I consumed a lot of my power while traveling between dimensions. Usually traveling is dangerous. Suho notices that the system is telling him that Beru is at level 1 and that he is a special type. Beru gets upset because he doesn't understand how the system could put him in such a low category, and he starts to feel confused. Finally, Suho says, in any case, there is no doubt that my body is fine thanks to you. You are right. I am a very skilled healer. My goal in coming here was to remove the seal from my master, but I did not expect you would do this on your own. This seal is connected to the dream I had. But Beru said you may think it was just a dream, but it really happened. You were much stronger than you are now when you killed me. Even though Song Jinwoo, the great shadow monarch, sealed your memories and your power, hoping that you would live a normal life like everyone else. Suho goes crazy, grabs him, and starts yelling, you mean my father? I knew that everything happening to me was connected to my father who left me. No, he didn't leave you. He went to another dimension to fight with the rulers who are trying to take over the world. All of a sudden, he spreads his dark energy throughout the room, and the image of the shadow monarch appears. And the rulers he is referring to in this scene are not the rulers we know from the past. No, they are the Itarim we saw at the beginning. So you are saying that my father is trying to save the world? Yes, he is trying to stop the rulers of the Itarim. These rulers sought to bring destruction and bring about the end of our world. I killed many enemies on my way to meet you, my lord. Perhaps one of them started this war and caused the gates to reappear. Suho is very surprised by what he hears and started asking questions. My mother disappeared at the same time my father disappeared, so I thought that was the case. But when Beru hears this, he becomes extremely frightened and starts screaming, saying that he cannot believe that she disappeared like that. There is no doubt that her disappearance is related to one of their followers. Was this the reason for my parents' disappearance? Beru remains silent for a moment, but then replies to Suho and tells him that he wants to see them. Of course, I have been alone all these years. If there is a way to do this, then do it. But Shadow Monarch is unable to come to Earth because of the war. Nevertheless, there is no doubt that you are strong, sir, to have found a way to break the seal. In fact, your strength is increasing. At that moment, Beru takes out a strange key from the darkness. A notification from the system states that Suho has received a quest, and that this quest is the mission of the Shadow Monarch. It says that since Suho is the son of the Shadow Monarch, now that his seal has been broken, he must prove his worthiness to control this great power by ascending through the Shadow Prison. The key is the key to the Shadow Dungeon. Put this key in your shadow, my lord. And indeed he begins to listen to Beru's words and puts the key in his shadow. At that moment something strange happens in the darkness, and the key enters it. Because of this, a gate appears out of nowhere. Go now and gain all the power you can, my lord. He stands in front of the gate and says to himself, I still can't believe it. My father was at war with the rulers of outer space. What nonsense! But if I can gain the power to meet them again, I will rise as high as you wish. At that moment he is filled with determination and resolve. When Beru sees him in this state, he begins to remember the memories between him and Jin. At that moment Jin says to Beru, "Go to Earth and break that seal, Beru." "You mean, my lord?" "Yes, the time for the invasion is near. Remove the seal from his memory and give him his power, so that he can protect you and protect Earth. We will give you the freedom to do as you wish on Earth. We will return to this moment again." Beru says to himself as he watches Suho, "If you say you will give me the freedom to do as I wish, I will remain loyal to you." Beru stays beside the young master to watch him as he grows up. Suho remains at the entrance to the gate. As usual, Suho passes through the gate, which closes behind him, and he easily goes to the other side. Beru is with him and starts saying, "This is the land of the dead, which no one can enter without permission. My lord, it is the Shadow Dungeon. If this is the Shadow Dungeon, it is more like a city than a dungeon. I don't know why, but I feel comfortable here." At that moment the system screen appears in front of him, explaining his mission, which is to survive. The inhabitants of the Shadow Dungeon will not recognize him as the king of this land because of his weakness, so he must stay alive for the required period of time to prove his worth. The required period is 4 hours, which seems like an easy task. But then we see that Beru is very worried about Suho and asks him to be careful. He shocks him and tells him that the test has begun. Suho is surprised that things started so quickly, but before he can finish being shocked, a terrifying monster attacks him from behind. However, Suho reacts very quickly and kicks it in the stomach. We see that the monster attacking Suho is a goblin, and it starts screaming incomprehensible words. Beru warns him that if the goblin is a scout, it means there are others around, so he decides to get rid of it quickly before it calls for reinforcements. "My lord, goblins are weak, but to be so reckless. The fact that this creature has no color means that it is weaker than me." The goblin tries to attack Suho, but Suho quickly defends himself, and using the knife he was holding cuts the goblin's head off and kills it completely. He looks at Beru and says, "See, just as I told you. The ones with colored names are stronger than you." Beru understands. But at that moment the two hear a loud noise nearby. They look up and see a goblin standing on a lamppost. It seems that there are other scouts, and because of the noise the goblin made, he is able to summon many goblins who gather in the area. This time they are not just scouts, but the leaders of the goblin clans. "Beru, you're going to help me, right?" "I wish I could, but because of the distance from Shadow Monarch, I can't renew my mana, and I have to conserve my remaining energy. Besides, if I join you in the fight, the experience you gain will be greatly reduced." "So you're telling me you won't help me?" Suho is shocked because he is currently surrounded by thousands of goblins, and they are all starting to rush towards him. Suho decides at that moment to try one of the skills he has acquired. This skill is Ruler's Authority, which is currently at level 1. He forms a halo around the axe and attracts it to his hand in a matter of seconds. He is able to use the axe to injure some of the goblins and escape from them, because he now feels like he has invisible hands. In a moment of showing off his new ability, he finds an arrow aimed at him. It is about to hit him, but he is able to catch it and is surprised by the presence of other archers. He decides to throw the arrow back. He forms a bow with his energy and shoots the arrow at the target, killing him. Beru watches in amazement at his ability to adapt. He begins to remember when he was a child and how he was like a legendary hero because since he was a child, he could use the power of the ruler freely, having inherited it from Jin. But this power was very destructive and caused nothing but trouble in a world that was peaceful at the time. But not anymore since the Itarim sent their forces to Earth. We see at this moment a group of goblins attacking Suho. In a matter of moments, he is able to easily defeat them. His power as a young master finally begins to emerge. In the midst of his battle with the goblins, his level is raised, and he realizes through the use of his ruler's authority that he can lift something much heavier than before. We see one of the goblins who appears senile and is able to stab him in the side. The goblin laughs and smiles at him in a terrifying way, but Suho is very strong and punches him in the face, killing him. Beru is very afraid for him, and many goblins gather around Suho. From among the goblins, one appears who looks very powerful, and a very strong aura emanates from him. He is the leader of 100 goblins. We see that Suho's health points have dropped by 30, so he pulls out the dagger that was stabbed in his side and feels terrible pain. But at that moment we see two goblins approaching him about to attack. He begins to gather a great deal of energy in the dagger and throws it with tremendous force, killing the two goblins that were attacking him, and continuing on its journey until it reaches the leader of the goblins and collides with him. This moment marks the beginning of something far greater. He currently feels more energetic than before, but he is helpless, of course, because the goblins' numbers are greater than his, and his health points are gradually decreasing. But he continues to fight with all his strength, and is able to kill many goblins. He tries to get closer and closer to the goblin leader. He gets close to him, but the goblin leader is protected by many other goblins. But of course the system will not leave him alone at a moment like this. Because of his high endurance, he gains the resilience skill at level 1, and his level rises several times. After a short time, we return to the killing field, and see that the place is full of goblin corpses. Even the goblin leader has been killed by Suho, who is sitting on top of a car. The mission is complete, and you have passed. You are truly amazing, young master. I never doubted you, even though you didn't help me until the end. He is very upset with Beru, but Beru doesn't care and prefers to praise him. At that moment, the reward for the mission is given, and the system asks if he wants to check it. Suho is surprised. The reward for the mission is not just any reward, because the reward is a rune stone for the special ability Shadow Extraction. Shadow Extraction? I can use that to extract shadows. Beru, who isn't really focused on Suho, starts imagining what Suho looks like when he uses the skill, and he's happy and very excited. Oh right, by the way, I gained a skill during the fight called Resilience. It turns out that it's not just about raising my level. I also gain skills when I awaken. This skill increases Suho's defense by 20%. So from the moment he awakens, he feels like he's become super strong. Beru starts to realize that this level-up system is an improved version of the one his master used in the past. And of course he's talking about Master Jin. He knows that this system will help him grow in the future. In short, you thought you weren't awakened, but you're actually the most powerful one. Think about life that way. Okay, anyway, I want to accept the reward. At that moment, the rune stone of the skill appears in Suho's hand, and he starts to crush it. As usual, energy comes out from the stone and begins to swirl around Suho. A screen appears showing information about the skill. Now Suho is able to summon 3 shadow soldiers. He is very surprised that he is able to create them. This skill allows you to create soldiers like me from corpses. Extracting shadows is the essence of the power that made him the current Shadow Monarch. So it's a kind of necromancy. But in order to deal with corpses, I'll need to hunt first. Doesn't mean that I can only control those weaker than me. Besides, I've heard that summoning skills aren't highly valued among hunters, to be honest. I'm not going to comment on that, Beru says. The important thing is that he's actually going to use the skill on the corpse of the goblin leader, so that the system will know that the extraction was successful and ask Suho to give the order to extract the shadow. What the system wants is for Suho to say the words so that the shadow can be extracted. So Suho doesn't understand why he has to give the order for the skill. Beru smiles with enthusiasm and tells Suho that it's better for the order to be obvious. And at that moment he gives the order, which is of course the usual phrase, arise. At that moment the goblins turn into shadows, but the funny thing is that they are much smaller than before and become first-level goblins of the normal rank. What is shadow extraction? It didn't turn out as great as I thought it would. The goblin soldiers are shocked, and Beru tries to explain that when soldiers are first extracted they are weaker and a little smaller than before. The goblins have lost confidence in themselves and started to cry because they are weaker. It's a little different from the original, but anyway the system now tells me that they will disappear after one day. That's impossible. You don't have shadow retention skills, do you? No, I don't. Suho is very disappointed. Beru starts telling him that it seems that shadow power is affected by intelligence and level, but it's still an amazing skill. Okay, Beru, I understand. I've been hungry for 2 days. Do you know how to get us out of here? With the key, my lord. You can get out anytime. Okay, let's go eat first. After a while they go to the market. He eats and really likes the food, and we know that he is currently in the hospital. Beru explains to him the tasks he must do in the future, which are 3. First, defend the land from enemies coming from outside the planet. You want me to go to the dungeons and fight monsters? Yes, you will level up when you kill monsters, and the stronger the young king is, the safer the land becomes, just like your father did in the past. The second thing we need to focus on is finding out what happened to your mother. Maybe we can find a clue if we hunt down the enemies from outer space. That means we have to go through the gates anyway. And the third and most important thing is regaining my power. I'm tired of acting like a weakling. I want to show you, my young master, my power against our enemies. So what do we need to do to restore your power? I can make the magic and knowledge of a target mine by swallowing it, but that method is ineffective. In short, my lord, I need you to let me swallow something full of magic. Ah, that's why you want me to keep entering the dungeons. After he finishes eating, he starts getting ready to go to the dungeons, but Beru tells him that he must first obtain a hunter's license. So now he needs to go to the Hunters Association and measure his own strength. When he hears this, he starts telling himself that he is one of the awakened who is rising to a higher level, so he wonders what grade he might get. An A rank or something. But of course, as the saying goes, like father, like son. Of course his mana level is 46, and with such a low level he gets E rank. All of his hopes are dashed, and he leaves the Hunters Association. Beru comes out to him and tries to comfort him, but Suho has lost all confidence in himself and wonders how a hunter with a rank like his can save the planet. Beru tries to convince him that he is rising in rank, and Suho tells him that he has heard that hunters with a rank like his are not recruited into guilds, so it will be very difficult for him to get into any dungeon. But then an idea pops into his head, and he tells Beru that there might be a way. Beru is surprised and laughs. Suho is thinking the same way his father did in order to get into a dungeon of any rank, which is to work as a miner. He actually does what he says and enters a mine, starting his new job. We see that he starts thanking the person next to him for bringing him here, who is the teacher's assistant we saw before, whose name is Lim Do-kyun. He is very grateful to him and happy to know him, because thanks to him he was able to work in the dungeon. But at that moment we see that Lim is standing still, staring at him, silent. Then he starts to bow to him and apologize for what happened when he ran away earlier when the fog monster attacked them. He was the only one awakened at that moment, but he was overcome with fear and ran far away from them. He remains bowed, apologizing, because he didn't know what to do. So my kind-hearted Suho forgives the teacher's assistant and tells him that he should hold his head high, because in the end he did the right thing by following the instructions of the Hunters Association, which state that any hunter of his rank must run away as fast as he can when he sees a monster. We see the shock on Lim's face, and he starts shouting at Suho, asking if he is also awakened. Suho confirms that to him and tells him that his score is 46, which is actually lower than Lim. Lim confirms this to Suho and tells him that his score is lower than that of other awakened ones. He saw Suho killing the mist burn with great skill, so he wonders if he was mistaken in what he saw. If he was really an E-rank hunter and was able to defeat a mist burn, that would be a great achievement. That's right, the young king is amazing. What is this magical monster? Young king, you are currently as weak as a newborn insect, so I am not confident about you, but I am with you. Then Lim tells Suho that he is very surprised he was awakened as a summoner. He tells him that he is very lucky, because most of those of low ranks have no skills. They knew that Lim has a skill in running, so they mocked him and told him that that is why he is good at running away. This makes the teacher's assistant very upset. Suho tells him that he was just joking, but at that moment Suho looks behind him into the depths of the dungeon and says to himself that this is the first time he has been in a dungeon except for the Shadow Dungeon. He wonders if the attack team is hunting the monsters. Indeed, at that moment we go to the attack team who are busy killing the monsters. They are very surprised because all the monsters that have appeared so far are only magical wolves, and they are very upset because these wolves are not very valuable. At that moment, one of the team calls the leader and tells him that he has found a new place to look. They enter that place which looks like ruins, and one of the team uses his sensing skills and tells the team that he does not sense any monsters. The team is very disappointed and wonders what the point of this is. However, they still have hope that they might find some hidden treasure or something. Their wish comes true because they find a sword stuck in the ground that is clearly a very valuable item. The team is very happy and excited to find out the value of the weapon, but the team leader warns them that no one should touch it because treasures like this are usually surrounded by traps. But of course, as in any story, someone arrogant and conceited appears from among them and rushes toward the sword, saying he will pull it out. The leader tries to stop him and tells him to wait, but of course this person is like any arrogant fool and has great confidence in himself because he is an A-rank defender. He grabs the sword and starts to pull it out of the ground. But at that moment, a powerful force emerges from the sword, turning the place into a pool of blood. And the hunters stand in the middle of the mouth of a terrifying creature, which then closes on the hunter and terrifying eyes appear. We come out of this illusion and see that the hunter who grabbed the sword was able to pull it out, and the other hunters did not see what happened. The leader believes that there are no traps and begins to feel reassured. But at that moment, the hunter who grabbed the sword says to them, "How dare you?" In an instant, the hunter cuts off the head of the team leader. The rest of the team were terrified, greedy for the sword of the king of beasts. Kill the intruder who dared to come to our land. Kill, kill, kill. I will kill you all. Let's go back to Suho, who is continuing to dig, but in a different way, and we will see if this method is effective. That way is for Suho to take out his summons and let them dig in his place. The teacher's assistant is very shocked by Suho's abilities because a normal summoner can only summon 2 monsters at most, but 3 at once, and not to mention the 4th creature that can talk and is here. He's talking about Beru, and he'll see that Suho's power is illogical. Then Suho will be very happy with his ability to extract shadows, and those goblins will work without complaining at all. He says, "Beru, my ability to extract shadows is really amazing, just like you said. Please don't complain to me while you let us do all the work, my lord. We didn't come to the dungeon to advance in level." Suho tells Beru that it's because he was so lost in his thoughts that he forgot the rule of the Hunters Guild, which states that hunters cannot enter the dungeon alone. They recently started dividing the hunters into categories, which is why there are so many mistakes in the measuring equipment. I will improve my level, and then ask for my strength to be remeasured. Beru, do you remember our 3rd mission? We can achieve that here too. You mean regain my strength? You said you would let me go if you ate something. There are magical particles in the magic stones. Since you're like that, and you will not help me collect the magic stones, just stay quiet and leave me alone. Indeed, Beru starts to eat the magic stones, feeling upset. But at that moment, Beru senses something and shouts, "Young master." Suho asks, "What did you feel, Beru?" "I felt the presence of a monarch." "Do you mean my father?" "No, there is more than one being at the level of a monarch. If it were your father, I would have been able to regain my power immediately. The scent of this being is perhaps..." A terrifying sound comes from deep inside the cave, surprising all the diggers who ask each other what is happening. What could it be? What is that sound coming from the team of explorers? But at that moment we see the eyes of monsters approaching the explorers, who are very frightened and begin to run away. But these monsters are just wolves, and these wolves are enough to wipe out the entire team of explorers. At that moment they begin to run away, but we see one of them who couldn't escape and is being attacked by a wolf. The prospector tries to stay away from the wolf using his shield, but the wolf easily knocks the shield away and destroys it, destroying with it all the prospector's hopes for life. But at that moment our hero appears. He attacks the wolf and defeats it with a single blow. He then turns to the other diggers and tells them to run while he buys them some time. They thank Suho and start running. At that moment Suho looks at the wolves with a terrifying gaze. If its name is orange, then it must be at the same level as the mist-burn monster of the D rank that I killed at the Korea University of Arts. I'm sure I can defeat it on my own, but that's if I'm alone. The teacher's assistant is standing behind him, ready to fight with his tool. "Lim, you can run away too. And you're trying to help everyone evacuate on your own? I'm not running away again. In this situation, help me when I fall, please." At that moment the goblins come out, and Suho orders them to watch over Lim. He opens his storage, takes out a dagger, and prepares to attack. Lim is very shocked because Suho also knows how to summon weapons. He quickly attacks the three wolves, and in a single moment, he splits one of the wolves in two. The other wolves are shocked, and the shadows encourage him to get up. He quickly uses his shadow summoning skill on the wolf he killed. At that moment the other two wolves attack him, and we see the shock and wonder appearing on Lim's face. We return to Suho and see that he has fought off one wolf and let the shadow wolf he summoned fight the second one. Oh, the young king has already mastered fighting by summoning shadows. Summoning shadows doesn't consume any mana. I'll be the first to get more energy, and the more I summon, the more I'll be able to form an army. Okay, now let's add one more to the group. He stabs the other wolf in the head with his dagger, and quickly turns it into one of his summons. One of the goblin soldiers will be surprised and start to feel that he is useless and worthless, and becomes very depressed and start crying. Suho level will rise to a new level, and he will become the last wolf of the three, and you can make him one of your summons. You don't even have the physical abilities of an E rank, and you can even tame magical monsters. I'm getting a little excited. As for that, I'm a soldier of what rank? It's impossible that Suho is a fake and lying about his rank. True, but then we see a notification for Suho, and it's a notification about a mission which is an important mission. That mission is to defeat the enemies in the area who want to kill the player. Kill them and ensure your safety. The number of enemies you must kill is 1. The mission requires me to kill 1 enemy, but I defeated all the wolves I saw. That means there is another monster. At that moment we saw someone approaching the place. Is he from the attack team? He asks him what happened. Wait a minute, he's in danger. At that moment we see the terrifying monster attacking and about to hit him and kill him, but at the last moment Suho manages to pull him back and save him from the deadly blow. The monster destroys the ground with its power. The wolf team attacks and launches an attack on the monster. Another hunter has lost his mind. He has always been with the leader among the hunters, But now he has turned into a magical creature. He is trying to get them away from this place. His name is written in red, and the more he gets angry, the brighter the red color becomes. The name was dangerous. I could feel the power of the red name from the Korean Arts Association. Escaping with Lim is the logical decision. He thinks, but he keeps asking Beru. Beru, I think he is not a monarch like my father. Even though he has the same power, it is too weak to call him a monarch. But that doesn't mean you can't face him with your current situation. Okay, fine. He starts to open his private storage room. The young king, no way. You told me that the system provides assistance to ensure my stable growth. Since it gave me this task, it must mean that I can win. More importantly, in order to see my father, I must become stronger as quickly as possible. He takes out all the daggers he has in the storeroom. We go back to the monster and see that he has killed the 3 summoned creatures. He looks terrifying and hideous. We go back to the young king and see that he is getting ready to fight surrounded by all the daggers. I will defeat him. My name is Red, the monster says. He quickly became stronger, my young master, even though he faced many enormous challenges until now. Despite this, the young master never thought of running away. In his frail and weak appearance, I see a glimpse of his royal blood. Beru tells Suho. The sword held by the monster is its essence. Simply cut off its armor and separate it from its host, so it can no longer move. That's all. Look, something is forming behind the monster. The monster notices it and quickly turns toward it. It's the 3 wolves that were killed before, and they have been revived and are attacking him. One of them is able to grab the sword. When I cast the spell on them, they came back. The shadow soldiers are basically spiritual bodies. As long as you have magical power, you can summon them as many times as you want. Let's try it. But right now the monster is attacking the 3 wolves, striking each one with a single blow. Is this the power you're talking about? That's because your mana is still weak, my young master. The beast starts talking and says to him while moving its sword towards him. How can you, a small worm, use the powers of the Shadow Monarch? How can he talk? How dare you call the descendant of the Shadow Monarch a worm? You insignificant descendant of the King of Beasts. I never thought I would meet the enemy of my lord, the Lord of the Beasts here. If you don't know who the Lord of the Beasts is, he is the insignificant king who always ran away from battle, just like he tried to run away from Jean before, but Jean, of course, was able to catch up with him and finish him off with ease. At that moment, Suho cuts off the monster's words with a dagger aimed at him, but of course the monster can easily counter him. Let's start exploring the extent of his skill. He begins to control all the daggers around him and throws them at the monster, who can easily counter them. That's to be expected. You deal with the one with the red name with ease, don't you? In that case, let's settle this with a large number of daggers. He gathers all the daggers and throws them at the monster all at once. Unfortunately, the monster is very fast and can destroy them all. This is the power of the ruler that you have been using since you were a child. The monster continues to destroy Suho's daggers and lunges at him with a terrifying look, shocking Suho with his attack. However, the monster's ultimate goal is to destroy Suho's last weapon. This weapon destroyed all the goblins at once. We see that the terrifying monster continues to attack Suho, but Suho dodges all of its attacks. There is no way to defeat it. If I am attacked, even once, it will be the end of me. If the battle lasts any longer, I will lose any chance of winning. Will you continue to run away like a coward, you insect? The Shadow Monarch must be a coward too, hiding behind his soldiers. The beast is talking about Suho's father to provoke him. It's a really despicable idea, but even though he provokes me, I can't fight him. Suho keeps dodging the monster's attacks with great difficulty. Damn it, if only I were stronger. At that moment, let's go back to the past, before he went to the Shadow Dungeon. We see him standing there talking to Beru, saying, Beru, now that my seal has been broken, I don't have the same power I had when I climbed the tower. Your power, sir, has been sealed since you were a baby. It would be best to think about it and regain your talent from that time. If you get those powers, it will certainly be more than enough to face Monarchs. However, that was not a dream or reality, but merely a test to see if you could handle your talent. Your physical strength would disappear whether you passed the test or not. If it was just a game, your experience in the tower was not useless in any case. Try to remember your feelings and your fighting spirit. I definitely remember my feelings at that time in the tower. I was mostly fighting with my fists, but if I had gloves like I had then. At that moment, he remembers what Beru told him, that the shadow soldiers are essentially spiritual bodies, and that he could summon them as long as he had magical powers. Now that I think about it, I can change their form however I want. If that really works, let's summon them again. Those wolves, that ridiculous trick again. You still don't realize that your tricks won't work on me. I'll cut you to pieces first. And indeed the beast turns toward him, ignoring the wolves. But at that moment he begins to gather his magical power and transform the wolves into energy that swirls around his hands. We then see the terrifying beast's attack, which descends like a thunderbolt. At the last moment, Suho manages to block the beast's blow by transforming the wolves into what are known as Lycan's fangs. Iron fangs and claws in the form of first-level gloves. Because of what Suho has done, his shadow extraction skill has increased, and he is now able to transform any of his shadows into any shape he desires. He began to say, "Now I can fight with my fists as I wished," and he launched dozens of punches at the monster, but the monster was still able to block them. We then see Beru standing there watching Suho, and shocked by thinking that Suho turned the soldiers into weapons. Beru tells us that Jin, the Shadow Monarch, has surpassed all levels to be able to stand in a position that allows him to control the shadows freely. But Suho, who is still learning the power of the ruler, and whose level should be lower than Jin's, has nevertheless managed to learn the second level of the power of shadows without anyone teaching him. His fighting instincts have proven his proficiency in using the power of the ruler. We see that Suho imitates his father's movements, throwing the dagger behind the monster and attacking it with the dagger. Unfortunately, the blow does not hurt it much and only distracts it, so he takes advantage of the opportunity and appears in front of it, once preparing a powerful punch and starting to rain down on the monster with many crushing blows that send it flying a long way and crashing into the wall. However, from the smoke caused by the attack, the monster emerges still unharmed. But Suho has no chance to do anything because he lunges at it, using his ruling power to gather all the digging tools in the area and throw them at the monster's hand, which holds the sword. With this tremendous force, he manages to cut off the hand, and the sword finally falls. My young master is truly a miracle. I told you he was a red name. It turned out to be more powerful than I thought. I never doubted your victory for a moment, young king. I'll try to believe you, but I learned a new fighting technique in this battle. In the end, the result wasn't bad, right? Let's see the rewards. A message from the system appears telling him that there is a reward. If he wants to check it, he accepts it, and the reward is a rune stone for the skill Wind Slash, which is a level 1 skill that requires 50 mana and allows the user to attack multiple enemies at once. He is very happy with this skill because it was what he wanted most. He knows how to use the skill and starts preparing to try it out. He removes the gloves from his hands and looks at the monster's sword, deciding that it will be his new weapon. However, we see that the consciousness of the monster sealed inside the sword is still there, and it begins to speak. It says, "How humiliating to think that I will be defeated by a descendant of a monarch of all people." But it's not over yet. We see that at that moment Suho is approaching the sword to grab it. That's right, the moment he grabs it, it will swallow him whole. Sure enough, Suho begins to grab the hilt of the sword, and at that moment a terrifying aura begins to surround him. But then the aura disappears, and he is able to grab the sword with ease. The system tells him that he has obtained the Rakan's Fang, and the monster is very surprised that nothing happened to him. This weapon looks much better than the daggers. Beast said, "What kind of heart is this?" "It is a human heart that I cannot control. I inherited the power of the king of beasts." We know that Suho is not affected by the sword thanks to the great wizard Kandiaru, who made Suho resistant to all diseases, poisons, and mental influences. At that moment, Suho began to prepare himself and aim his new weapon to use his skill of Wind Slash, which once released cuts everything around it, even rocks. It can completely consume my mana, which is a bit of a problem, but I really like this destructive power. At that moment, the sword tries to convince Suho that his skill of extracting shadows is 100 times better. Then we see that Lim starts to wake up. Did you figure out what happened? It's a long story, but we're on our way out. At that moment, Lim sees the hunter who is being controlled by the monster, and he gets really scared and starts screaming. Then after a while, Suho comes out of the gate and tells him that he's going back in to see if there's anyone else. Lim is standing there looking at him, really shocked by his abilities and skills, even though he's just a kid from the slums. He wonders how he got all that strength, but then he doesn't care about that and sees that the important thing is that Suho saved all those people. We go back to the dungeon and see that there are two wolves screaming and attacking Suho, but with a few simple punches, Suho is able to defeat them both and level up. It's clear that there are still many magical monsters of the wolf type inside. They're all experience points, so don't let them escape. We see that Suho is clearly upset and starts talking to the monster inside the sword, saying, "By the way, why did you stop attacking me? Do you want me to cooperate with the Monarch's descendant?" At that moment, we see the sword's data panel, which shows that it adds 30 attack points and 5 stats points. The sword was made from the Fang of the King of Beasts and can take over the body of anyone with low stats. It also has a special effect called Contempt for the Weak, which sets a specific target in case of submission for a minute, reducing all of its stats by 50%. It also has another effect, Critical Injury, which causes an additional 15% damage. At that moment, Beru goes to the sword and starts saying to him, "You use your skills against those weaker than you. Shame on you. Who is going to hunt down a target stronger than him? The young king has defeated you. You who consider yourself a relatively stronger opponent." The sword is shocked by Beru's words and does not know how to respond, so he remains silent. Suho says to himself, "The sword is talking. What is this chaos?" He looks at the gems he collected. After a while, we see that he has returned to the place where the sword was and goes to the bodies of the hunters who were killed. He looks at them filled with sadness. They are all dead. It killed those who tried to break into this place. Its mission is to guard the temple of the King of Beasts. At that moment, Suho gets very angry with the sword, grabs it by the handle, and stabs it in the ground. "Shut up for a moment." At that moment, the system starts telling Suho that he can use his shadow extraction skill on this target, which is the corpse of one of the hunters. It is possible to use shadow extraction on humans as well. Of course, regardless of their species. You can turn them into your soldiers, young king. So he begins full of evil and points his hand toward the corpses of the hunters, but at the last moment he recoils. He goes to their bodies and carries them away to get them out of the place. "You won't use shadow extraction on them?" "No, if I let them be desecrated after they are dead, that will be another punishment for them." The sword is very surprised by Suho's behavior. He covers the bodies and takes them to the car, then returns to the same place and says to Beru, "Beru, you said this is a monarch's temple, right?" "Yes. But what about my father killing the monarch?" This is also related to the Itarim. The Itarim are the current enemies of the Monarchs. You can only think of Monarchs as enemies of the past. There are a total of 9 Monarchs, including my Lord Jinwoo, who is the Great One, and your father, and he is also the Shadow Monarch. The other monarchs are the king of beasts, the king of frost, the king of the iron body, the king of demons, the king of giants, the king of the underworld, the king of demonic ghosts, and finally the king of destruction. All 9 monarchs possess unimaginable supernatural powers, but when they invaded Earth they were all killed by my master. Did my father do that? That's right. The Shadow Monarch is the archenemy who killed my father, the King of Fangs. And guys, just to clarify, the King of Fangs is the same as the King of Beasts. If only I had my full power, I would have torn you to pieces and fed you to the wolves. I understand what you mean. He killed my father and the other monarchs to protect the Earth. And you were just protecting this place. Both sides made a rational decision to protect what is important to them. But if there is a difference, it is in your thinking that you must kill me because I am his descendant. If your duty is really to protect this place, it is not foolish to be hostile towards my father, whom even the King of Beasts could not defeat. I want to meet my parents whom I cannot meet because of you from the outside world. And to do that I am willing to borrow strength from anyone. If the Itarim invade this place, will not survive either. If you help me, I will help you protect this place. He wants me to work with the descendant of the Shadow Monarch. What do you think? This time will the Shadow and the Fang fight on the same side. But before we find out, the summer ends and the scene changes. After a while we go to a public place where there are journalists asking someone about the incident that took place in the dungeon where Suho was. That person is the teacher's assistant Lim, who agrees to tell the journalists everything. He tells himself that even if Suho is E rank, he is confident that he will do well if he is recognized, and this will be a very good opportunity for him to pay off his debt. That night an article appeared on the internet about the rescue of a miner from the slums for all the miners in the dungeon, and the article included interviews. They saw the heroic miner who was of high rank set off towards the magical monsters to save them. At that moment the scene shifts to a guild called Black Turtle, where we are with the second management team. The guild is currently looking to hire some hunters of any rank. One of them, named Lee Yong, sends a candidate from the E rank to one of his colleagues and asks for his opinion. His colleague reads the file, which is about a hunter who worked in a prison, and is very shocked that someone who did all that is a hunter of E rank. He tells Lee Yong that if a large guild like theirs got hold of that guy, it wouldn't be a big deal. His colleague tells him that he will contact him immediately. After some time, Yong asks his colleague about the hunter's response, expecting that he will accept, because he was invited by a big guild like the Black Turtle to become a member. His colleague responds and says he actually rejected it. What? He rejected the Black Turtle Guild? Does it make sense for a new hunter to reject an offer from a large guild like ours? He said he's not planning on joining any guild. A hunter without a guild? He thinks he's some kind of big shot. Okay, he'll definitely call us sooner or later. He'll realize it soon enough. How can he not be in a guild? Let's go. At that moment, Suho, who was holding the phone, looked at it and said to Beru, I got a lot of offers from guilds after I got out of that dungeon. There are many people who covet your talent, young king, but they all want to hire me as a collector or porter. He wonders why all these people are contacting him, and of course he doesn't know the reason yet. If I join a guild, it will disrupt the system, so I don't need it. Okay, let's drop it. Let's start over. Let's go back to the moment when he offered to cooperate with the sword. The sword said to himself at that moment, how could this rascal say something so stupid so easily? Even though he had become an ally and not an enemy, and was waiting for his answer, he replied and said, I have one condition. Take me to a different palace to the King of Beasts. Let's go back to the present, and Suho says to the sword, you know how we can get to the shelter? If it's the shelter of the King of Beasts, I can find it no matter how far away it is. I can feel that the gate leading to it has already disappeared. This is what humans call a dungeon break. If you don't understand, the shelter they are talking about has now turned into a dungeon. So he says, what does that mean? The refuge has been turned into a field dungeon. A field dungeon refers to land that has become barren due to the destruction of the gate where monsters live. This is what happened before at the gate of Jeju Island, which was infested with ants. At this moment, Suho is sending a message to someone telling him, "Uncle, I'm sending you this message to let you know that I'm going out for a while, so don't worry about me even if you don't hear from me." I think he's referring to Jinho. After Suho sends this message, he starts getting ready to go to the shelter. We then move to the location of the shelter and see that Suho is there standing in front of the gate. Are you sure this is the place? Yes, it's very difficult to find among all the other places. This place is owned by the Hyena Guild, and if you go there it will be illegal, because the Hyena Guild is made up of people who used to be in gangs. They are all scary. You can't listen to this worthless creature, young king. Instead, I suggest you rise above it. But Beru notices that he is doing something. What are you doing? We see that Suho is gathering his strength in his hands. I'm getting ready to go in. But what about the Hyena Guild? I have my own ways. He starts to use his skills. The ruler's authority crushes the camera in front of the gate. There will be no evidence left if you do that. The way you solve your problems reminds me of the Monarch. After he destroys the camera, he jumps and runs inside the place and starts wandering around, but he'll be confused because there's a strange blue fog. This fog is from outer space. It penetrates the dimensional walls, causing a rift in the worlds. Because of that fog, the creature you were in wandered through the rift and ended up connected to the earth. They are trying to create a large hole in the dimension so they can send their armies. The more barriers a creature has, the more it is affected by traveling through dimensions. What these creatures are doing is the same thing that Beru did. They are coming from outer space to Earth, but the difference is that they will not lose their power like Beru did, because Beru came very quickly. This ultimately led to him losing all his energy. As long as Jin is not close to him, he will not be able to regain his energy quickly. These creatures, in order not to lose their energy, will stay for a long time until they reach Earth. So Suho says to him, "If that means it's going to take some time before the strong ones arrive, then I need to hurry up and increase my strength." At that moment, many monsters begin to approach Suho. The monsters attacking Suho are monkey monsters with claws and black shadow raisin. "It's finally time to show my strength," says the sword. "Oh, you're brave, but unfortunately I'm going to disappoint you. I'm not going to use you as my weapon." "What?" At that moment the monsters start attacking Suho. I already know how to fight from the basics I learned in the training program using the ruler's power. He uses the ruler's power on the sword to make it destroy the monsters from a distance, then returns it to his hand again. Then he uses his wind/skill to destroy the rest. Using a combination of weapons throws them into chaos. However, obtaining equipment using shadow extraction is the new fighting style. He tries to do it again with the gloves, and Beru is very surprised by what he does. "That's excellent, young king. If this is the power of someone from the lineage of the Shadow Monarch, the more enemies there are, the longer the fight will be. But he will become stronger by killing them at this rate. We will lose the war. After he destroys all the monsters, he will turn them all into shadows. Right now I can only handle 5 shadow soldiers after raising my intelligence stats. That's nothing compared to the tens of millions of soldiers the Monarch has." "Shut up!" He is very upset by Beru's words because he ruined his moment of pride. After some time has passed, Suho arrives at the dungeon. Finally they arrive at the shelter, and the sword tells Suho that the gate leading to the shelter is here. This is bad. I can't believe there are still people here at a time like this. Why are they here at this hour? Wouldn't it be better to defeat the magical monsters during the day? But at that moment we see that he has arrived at the place where the people are, and they start opening the gates for them. Suho is very shocked by what he sees, which is a group of bound humans who have clearly been captured by this gang. What I see now is human trafficking. It seems that the young king, we are currently trespassing on someone else's property, so it would be wise not to take any action. But at this moment we see that Suho has disappeared from Beru's side. He has actually left. We see that Suho is heading towards the gang, because after all his father is a violent crime investigator, and his grandfather is a legendary firefighter. The 21-year-old Song, Suho grew up watching these people. We see one of the gang members who was holding a girl, but he notices something behind him and starts looking. It's Suho who had arrived at that moment and kicked him with all his strength, because this family has a habit of acting first when they see any injustice. Then he goes to the gang leader and punches him in the face with his boot. We see the look of frustration on Beru's face and the shock on the faces of the other gang members. The gang leader falls to the ground unconscious. Suho looks at them with complete coldness and says, "Who are you?" "All right, my body is moving on its own. This is illegal. What am I going to do now?" A moment later an idea crosses his mind, and he begins to carry it out. He turns his shadow into a mask that he wears over his face, and he tells the gang members, "You kidnapped people and put them in danger. Who are you? Are you the Hyena Guild? No, you're the one who invaded our territory. Not only that, but you also attacked us. Do you want to die? Tear him to pieces, men." And indeed the gang members rush towards him and attack him, but he easily dodges them. He had done some research on the gang and knew that most of its members were a D rank, so he decided not to use his full strength to avoid seriously injuring them. At that moment one of them falls, and the others run away. Two others attack him, but when they see what happened to their friend they are shocked and freeze in place. However, they don't stand a chance because he appears in front of them and kicks them both, blinding them. The young master's strength is so great that these people who call themselves humans are no longer his match. We see that Suho has finished off the 3 gang members, and Beru is very impressed and proud of him. Suho is very surprised that he won so easily, but we know the reason for his victory. His new stats. He is now at level 16 and has 2,350 health points, 235 mana points, and the rest of his stats are 25 except for strength, which is 33. So he's still holding on to the gang members and tying them up. It was a very clean fight, young king. Now the people he saved are coming back and thanking him for his help. He asks them how many hunters are in the organization. Tell them that, but when you see them, don't worry. I'll take care of things here. You must escape to a safe place now. They leave the place, and people start wondering why the hyenas kidnapped those people. But the sword started talking to Suho and said, "Suho, I can feel it." "What do you mean?" "That's why I said we should come here." At that moment, Suho's team started to go deeper into the place and reach the garage. They started to open the door, but Suho was shocked by what was inside. There are iron cages and some medicine scattered around, so he realizes that people were being held here. This mysterious energy that I feel, could it be? Suho goes to one of the cages and finds a dog sleeping inside. He is surprised that they are keeping a dog and wonders what they were doing to it. This wasn't a normal puppy. This little wolf was the descendant of the king of beasts. What? Immediately after losing the war against the Shadow Monarch, the king of Fangs granted his surviving descendant protection and took him to a safe place, believing that as long as his bloodline remained, another king of Fangs would be born. But in reality, he did not want another king of Fangs to be born. He only wanted his bloodline to disappear from existence. We see that Suho destroyed the chains that were on the puppy and hugged him. I can definitely feel a mysterious energy that belonged to the king of beasts. He will die if we leave him like this, since he has become very weak. What will you do, young king? I don't know. Let's see the shock that appears on Suho and Beru's faces at this moment. Since all my men outside had fallen, I thought it was the work of several people, But it seems there is only one person here, you. So there was someone else here, a monster? Suho says. The creature talking to Suho is indeed a monster, and it starts saying, "Hyenas, you bastards, you are completely useless. I can't believe I was wrong about humans. The sword says, Brokey, are you still alive? You know him. That monster is the guardian who was given to the descendant I mentioned earlier. It's been a long time, Fang of Rakan. You were alive too, Brokey. It's unbelievable that you forgot that you were sent to protect the descendant. That's what happened, isn't it? That's why things have come to this." But we see that the beast called Brokey ignores the sword and starts saying to Suho, "What the hell, human? How dare you touch my property?" Quickly, before Suho even notices, the beast grabs the puppy from him and hits him with all his might, throwing him far away and destroying many buildings. Beru goes to the place where Suho was thrown and sees him lying on the ground. "Young master, are you okay? After all the blows I took, the last one was the most painful. Your head is bleeding. I feel like my head is going to explode, so please, Beru, don't scream." At that moment we see that Suho's skill levels up, raising his physical defense by 20%. Young king, when we arrived at this place, there was a mysterious energy here, and now I've discovered what it was. It was Itarim's energy. I can feel that energy from that monster Brokey. The sword shouts, "Do you even realize what you're doing, Brokey? You're the Monarch's descendant guard. How did you manage to retain this much power after losing the amulet?" The sword is surprised by his words, but Brokey continues and tells him that according to the law of survival, only the strong survive, and the weak depend on the strong. It is also a law of nature that the weak become food for the strong. Although this puppy is very weak, his origins come from Monarchs, so it can be said that he is a perfect source of nutrition, which is why I always consumed him. It was my turn because his blood is the blood of King of Beasts. I will make sure to kill you, you coward. You cannot do anything on your own. What can a hybrid like you do? Even if the monarch is dead, that only proves that he was weak. I am the one who survived, so you can call me strong. But at this moment we see that Suho is starting to move, waving his sword skillfully. The ruler's power is better than that of the next monarch. But at that moment Brokey's words are cut off by a blow to his face. Suho hits him on the arm, causing him to drop the puppy. Brokey is very upset, and we see that the puppy is on the verge of death. Beru manages to catch the puppy before it hits the ground, and moves as fast as lightning, grabbing the sword. "Suho, what good timing. You seem very angry about that. I happen to be annoyed by him too. This is the first alliance between the shadows and the fangs." Brokey begins to say to himself, "What is this? Finally, after I found a clue related to my father. You dare to kill me." At this moment Suho has an important mission to rescue the puppy and ensure his safety. He can't do anything but stand here with his hands tied. At that moment the puppy starts to wake up. Suho is getting ready to fight Brokey, standing in front of him with a sword in his hand. "Brokey, I think I know where they got the name of the gang. But how could a monster like him start a gang while kidnapping people? And it's connected to the Itarim. Mr. Brokey, please free this young man. He's not an ordinary person." Brokey actually looks at them and approaches them. "I'm not going to stand here and watch you do this." But Brokey defies everyone's expectations. Instead of helping them, he attacks them, and with one kick he decapitates all 5 of them, killing them completely. What? Who thought I needed help to face this guy? Those who don't know their place are just prey for him. Why, Brokey? He rushes towards the beast at great speed and gets close to it, ready to cut it down with his sword. But to everyone's surprise, Brokey easily deflects the sword with his bare hand. "You killed people for such a trivial reason? But they were just weaklings like them. You think that the strong need a reason to do what they want." Baruka hits him and sends him flying, but he manages to control himself and quickly gets back up. He returns to Brokey and kicks him in the face, The two engage in a quick and fierce battle. But in that moment Brokey plants his feet in the ground and prepares to attack, launching a wide-ranging claw strike. But he is surprised by something he couldn't have anticipated. Suho jumps on top of him and uses Wind Slash to inflict numerous wounds on his body. That's all you've got. You have tarnished the name of the beast family by using that skill. But an arrow has been prepared for Brokey, and it is a surprise. Suddenly the sword appears from behind him and pierces his body. But it's not over yet. The sword in Brokey's back spins very quickly. Brokey, why have you changed like this? You used to respect and obey the monarch. What made you do this? Brokey is surprised by the words of the sword and begins to think of the king of beasts and says, I respected Rakan. He becomes very angry and an ominous aura emanates from him. No, that's not true. He grabs the sword, pulls it out of his body, and throws it on the ground. I didn't respect him. I had no choice but to bow down before Rakan's power, and I will never return to that weak life. Now it's time for you. We see that Brokey has reached Suho and hit him very hard in the stomach. It hurts. I feel like my bones are breaking, but when I think that my father is fighting somewhere. At that moment he begins to gather his dark energy around his hands, forming gloves, and strikes Brokey with a crushing blow to his chest. I can't fall now. The young man's king begins to break, and they clash with their hands with great force, each of them defending himself against the other. We return to the broken sword, and the power inside it begins to leak out. In his final moments, the sword says, the blade is broken, the power is leaking out. Is this the end? Will the heir survive? The future of the Fangs has been left in the hands of one person, Song Suho. I want to continue fighting. At that moment, the sword hears a dog's bark and is surprised. We see that the sound came from the little puppy who is starting to stand up. Suho and Brokey are equal in strength. The sword which begins to look at the puppy. The fighting spirit did not leave him. The little puppy began to exert great strength from his body. I understand now. The last thing I could do was to give what remained of my power to the heir. And indeed the sword began to give all his remaining strength to the puppy. Beru was surprised by what was happening, and we saw that the puppy's body began radiating tremendous energy. We returned to Suho, who had been hit very hard by Brokey, who had pushed him back and knocked him to the ground. Suho was lying on the ground, breathing with difficulty. His health was now at 21 out of 2,350, but his determination to fight remained unbroken. He didn't give up and started saying as he tried to hold himself together, I think I've become stronger because of you. You're better than I thought, but die and be gone. Brokey lunged at Suho to deliver the final blow, but we saw something moving very fast to save Suho, and it was the puppy. He starts biting Brokey's hand and pulling it away from Suho. Suho is very surprised. We see the bite marks left by the puppy on Brokey's hand, but the puppy has turned into a big wolf and starts growling at Brokey. At that moment the system tells Suho that because of his fighting spirit the heir Fang has respect for him and asks if he will accept Fang as part of his team. Fang the wolf child wants to be part of my team. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt your excitement, but I have to tell you something. When I say Rakan, I mean the king of beasts, and when I say Fang, I mean the sword. Don't get confused by the terminology. So Brokey tells the wolf, you are Rakan's heir. You sucked the sword's power. The wolf is angry and ready to fight. Suho says to himself, he sucked the sword that sacrificed himself to save the heir. At that moment the system asks Suho again, if he accepts the heir as his colleague? Why would he look at him like that? Suho says to himself, I was planning to deal with the wolf from the beginning, so I'll accept him and your decision. The system says that he has accepted the heir as his colleague, and at that moment the two of them merge their consciousness. Something strange flows through my head. At that moment we go back to the memories of Rakan's descendant when he was with Brokey, and Brokey was saying to him, "O heir of Rakan, we lost to the Shadow Monarch in the war. In the end this world is for the strongest, and we are the ones who were defeated. We will lose everything for the prosperity of Rakan. You must become stronger." During that period he treated the little puppy with kindness, and the puppy was very happy to be with him. But those moments ended when strangers came to Brokey and the puppy. We saw Brokey bowing before them, and the puppy being terrified. Brokey tells them, "Why is there no one here to kill me?" We see that the person standing in front of Brokey is a woman carrying a child, and the child says that this monster will be very useful. The woman tells him that he must be like that, and they tell him that they will choose him. The child reaches out his hand, stabs Brokey in the eye, and we hear his screams. We see that the puppy is standing over him, not knowing what to do and crying. After the child finishes planting the thing in Brokey, he orders him that from now on his mission is to kill humans and bring them here. The strange child tells him that what he planted in him will increase his power and help him, but in the end it depends on the user, and I can change his desires. We see that the puppy was approaching Brokey while he was crying, but at that moment he sees something that shocks him, which is that Brokey's appearance has completely changed into someone else, and something ugly and deformed is coming out of him. This explains why Brokey changed. Let's go back to the present and see that Suho is shocked and starts saying to himself, "These are the memories of the heir. Those people planted something in Brokey's eye. Are they the masterminds behind this? Are they trying to kill him? Get up, Brokey! He's trying to save the crazy Brokey. If this is connected to the plans of those people, then I have to defeat Brokey here and now. But I'm not strong enough to do that." We see this evil and hideous thing coming out of Brokey's body, and just then an alert from the system tells him that he has an important message. His ally is surprised, so system explains the mission, which is to search for the heirs of the Monarchs, find them, and form an alliance with them. The heir he has been able to ally with so far is one of 8, and the reward is unknown. Because of his current connection with his successor Rakan, a powerful connection will form. We see him begin to shine like a wolf, and a great power begins to emerge from Suho. Then there is an explosion of power between the two of them, and a bright light shines. At that moment Brokey launches himself at Suho saying, "I don't know what you are doing, but he thinks that I told him to do it." Brokey is very close to Suho and manages to punch him with a powerful blow that has a huge impact and creates a curtain of smoke. We know from the system at that moment that the skill associated with the successor has been produced. We return to Brokey, who is in shock because Suho grabs his hand and blocks the blow. But we notice that his hand looks strange. His hair has turned white, a mark appears on his forehead, and his current appearance has become similar to that of the King of Beasts. He looks very majestic. So we begin to learn about the skill that allows Suho to connect with Rakan's successor. His senses become like those of monsters, but it consumes a great deal of energy. What is it that the heir has been absorbed? Brokey quickly directs many blows at Suho, but Suho without the slightest effort, and in his new form is able to easily dodge Brokey's attacks and feels that he has become very light and his senses are increasing. He is now able to avoid danger with the slightest movement. At this moment Brokey launches a very strong attack on Suho, but we see that Suho easily destroys Brokey's attack and kicks him very hard in the neck. Brokey is very surprised by what is happening and wonders if this is the same child from before. We see him in his magnificent appearance, surrounded by a strong golden aura. Brokey starts screaming and says that he cannot lose, because if he is defeated he will be deprived of everything. He uses all his strength to do the only thing he can do for his existence, and he launches a powerful attack. But Suho knows how to defend himself. "I don't know what plan you were thinking of, but I cannot be defeated by a human being. In the end, the difference in strength is determined by the difference in species." Brokey launches several attacks on Suho, taking advantage of his weakness. We see that Brokey's punch is met by Suho's punch, and when their hands collide, Suho has the upper hand because he can destroy Brokey's hand. We know the reason for this, which is that Suho has learned first-level self-defense skills that are activated automatically, making him more skilled in martial arts, and increasing the damage caused by his bare-handed attacks by 33%. How can you talk about differences in types in front of the young king? There is no type superior to the Shadow Monarch, who is at the top. When he hears these words, Brokey becomes very frightened. His body begins to tremble automatically. But we see that Suho is flying in the air and preparing a very powerful kick for Brokey. He crushes him to the ground and destroys the entire place. The truth is that his blow hits the entire area. At that moment, he remains there until he finishes with Brokey, then returns to his normal form and separates from the wolf. We see Brokey, whose brain has been crushed, lying on the ground. He hallucinates and says that he must become stronger. Suho starts to approach him sadly. When they see Brokey, the glint in his eyes disappears, and they say that he is regaining his old self. He remembers why he wanted to become stronger. Master Rakan. He was angry because he couldn't protect him. The wolf howls loudly and finally defeats the hyena. Brokey and Suho level up 2 levels, and the wolf approaches Brokey's body looking sad. Suho and Beru look at him. "You did a good job, young king." "Beru, you said you felt a tremor from Brokey." "I saw it with my own eyes." Memories flood back. "I saw hunters putting something in Brokey's eyes in the dungeon where he was. Could these men be the ones who killed him? If so, what was their motive?" Beru explains to Suho that it is impossible for them to be the ones who killed him because the leaders don't act directly. They use emissaries. But whoever did this might be connected to the invasion of the world. So he understands that this means that the emissaries of the Itarim are on Earth. He tells Suho, who is upset, that it would be great if he could get some more information. "If we lose track of the Itarim here, there is another way to get some." He starts telling Suho his idea, which is that Brokey must have memories of the Itarim. So if he eats his body, he will be able to search his memories and also recover his own. By doing this, he will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Suho is surprised that he has this ability. But then he turns to the wolf, who is still sad and standing in front of Brokey's body. He approaches him and says, "Don't you want to come with us? We have a place we can offer you." He looks at Suho, who is smiling at him, and at that moment the wolf approaches him and licks him. It is clear that he has agreed. At that moment, Suho comes out with the key to the dungeon, opens the cell, turns to the wolf, and tells him that he will trust him. The young man says, "Your words are very kind to me." And then the scene shifts to the shadow cell, where we see the cheerful trio walking inside. Beru asks Suho why he entered the cell instead of returning home. Suho replies that he wants to find a place to live, and that he is hiding in the shadow cell because he has an alliance with the heir of Rakan, who has no guardian or protector to hide him, which puts him in a pitiful situation. The system tells Suho that Rakan's heir is asking him to give him a name. "You want me to give you a name?" Since Suho is the son of Jin, he will surely give him a creative and beautiful name. Suho begins to say to the wolf, "You have gray fur, so I will call you Gray. See how creative I am." When Beru hears this name, he begins to say to himself, "What a creative name. Your sense of naming is similar to that of the monarch." But to his surprise, the wolf really likes the name and starts laughing and agrees to it. Now his name is Gray, and the wolf respects him. So he says to him, "Gray, I will designate this forest as a hunting ground for us to make good use of it." Gray agrees with him, and the system designates part of the Shadow Zone as a hunting ground and designates Gray as the king of the land. What should Gray eat? Since it is the land of the Fang, I think he can eat living creatures and monsters. Okay, that's good, because I think there are still monsters here. I haven't gotten rid of them all. I'll ask Gray to clean up the place. We see many goblins hiding behind the trees. At that moment we hear Gray's screams as he starts attacking the goblins and eating them. Suho is sitting on a tree branch watching. Wow, Gray moves really well. I need to organize the things I got this time and see what the reward for Brokey's special mission is. It's 5 points and the title Wolf Slayer. The effect of the title Suho got increases all stats by 40% when fighting a wolf-type monster. Beru knows that missions of this type did not exist in the Monarch system, and that he heard that the system that was created for Suho was modified to remove the evil intentions that existed within it. The original purpose of the system was to develop a person named Song Jinwoo by force, and use him as a vessel for the Monarch. This was part of the designer's plan. Once this purpose was achieved, it was decided that Song Jinwoo's soul would be destroyed. Jin defied the system's goal and became the Shadow Monarch. He became a wonderful being who no longer needed the system. Does this system work by helping me become the Shadow Monarch? No, that's not the solution. There can only be one Shadow Monarch in this world. The system will act as a guide in line with the direction you take. If new functions appear, they will certainly aim to help you. So he starts thinking about the purpose of the system. At that moment his status window opens, and we notice that in the classification box it says None. This classification is his special category. He says to himself, the statistics have increased significantly compared to when I was at level 1 when the Mistburn was chasing me. I have several useful skills, but I am still weak. If I didn't have the skill to connect with Gray, I would have lost to Brokey. If the missions I am given were compatible with what I want, if I do this mission now and complete it, maybe I'll meet my father in the end. He'll come down from the tree and say to Beru, "Oh, right, by the way, in the third memory of Brokey's memories, I saw the memories you mentioned, but they weren't connected to the emissaries of Itarim who manipulated Brokey's mind. I don't think there's any evidence in the end." But Pero continues and tells him that there were memories of humans who formed a gang of hyenas for Brokey and kidnapped humans. The name of that gang was Hyena Guild. It seems that we will be able to find out more about the Itarim if we investigate this guild. At this moment, the scene shifts to a person who is answering his phone and talking to someone named Lim Taegyu. Only veteran followers will know who Lim Taegyu is. The important thing is that this person starts talking to Lim Taegyu and asks him why he didn't go to Southeast Asia to apply for the raid. Lim Taegyu replies and says, "Do you think this is important? Didn't you see the news? The hyenas were put in a cage. That was your doing, wasn't it? What are hyenas? Something you see in the zoo?" "Change the subject," Lim sung. "Lim Taegyu, I don't like your tone. I've already found out. The truth is that you got some kind of deal with the Hyena Guild, and the association will find out very soon. It's normal if they ask me about it. What can they do if I deny it? Once I gather my lawyers, the association won't be able to say anything." Mr. Lim sung the guild representative. "You'd better not be overconfident, because even if the law is weak, the head of the association is not an easy person to deal with. It's better for you to fix things before I come back and shut you down." He ended the call as soon as he finished speaking, acting arrogant and superior just because he became a high-ranking officer when he was just my driver. At that moment, he is so angry that he destroys his office with one blow. Defeating Brokey and his union of hyenas? The only information the survivors had about him was that he was a young hunter wearing a black mask. But I don't have time to waste on someone I can't find right now. This is more important, and this person is the one I'm looking for. Min Sung, the deputy leader of Hyena Guild. What rank is he? If you don't know who he is, then Lim Taegyu and Min Sung are just insignificant people who loved the fame of past events. As for Lim Taegyu, he is the leader of Hyena Guild, and he participated with Jin in the cave on Jeju Island. Let's go back to our story and see that Lee Min-sung is holding a crystal ball in his hand and starts saying, "Hunter Stimulant Star Powder. If things go well, no one will be able to look down on me anymore." At that moment we return once again to Suho inside the shadow cell and see that Gray has finished off all the goblins. He is very happy with Gray's performance and thinks that if he levels up like this in the future, he will be very useful. He starts to praise Gray and tells him not to leave any food behind. Beru is surprised by the pampering he shows Gray, but he is happy because the two are getting used to each other. However, at that moment, a notification from the system tells him that his teammate Gray is transferring the experience he gained from hunting monsters to him, and the percentage of experience transferred is 50%. He is very surprised by this and starts telling Beru that he got experience points when Gray hunted the monsters. How can the system contain something like this? Actually, it's okay, because when shadow soldiers hunt monsters, some of the experience points are transferred to the Shadow Monarch. The mechanism must be similar to this from a gameplay perspective. The system is more like a team game where experience points are shared despite the 50% deduction of the points. This doesn't affect the automatic increase in points. I think we should let Gray finish hunting the monsters here and see what happens. At this moment, something strange starts happening to Gray, and a window appears in front of him indicating that the conditions for completing the mission have been met by defeating a certain number of monsters. His daily mission is completely different from Jin's, which was to make him run and do push-ups. Suho's daily mission is to clean the Shadow Dungeon, and he must kill 100 goblins. Killing goblins is a daily task, and a task means a reward, but having daily tasks means that I have a chance to get rewards every day. So Beru tells him that the system wants this place to be completely under his control. But finding 100 goblins in this vast area is difficult, so he starts searching. He opens the warehouse and takes out an item called a goblin horn, which is difficult to obtain from the first level. It is a musical instrument, and the goblin leader uses it to summon his followers. I got this item when I killed the other goblins. Then he uses the item, and the special effect is that it starts to summon the goblins near him. And indeed, at that moment, we see crowds of goblins start to rush towards him, just as I expected. "Oh, you used that horn to gather the goblins around you. How wonderful!" Suho starts to prepare his fist, gather his energy, and direct his crushing blow with tremendous force, which will finish off many of the goblins. A powerful energy will shoot out from his hand. The goblins are now very weak, but since I need to kill many of them, Suho will continue to use the horn to summon more goblins and finish them off. A huge army of goblins gathers in front of Suho, and he destroys them all in one fell swoop. At that moment, he uses his shadow summoning skill on the goblins he killed, and they begin to attack the army of goblins in front of them. Suho joins the battle, and after a while he manages to complete his daily mission and kill 107 goblins instead of 100. But we see that Gray is very exhausted and lying on the ground because he has been hunting for 3 whole hours. Because he completed his daily mission easily, the system tells him that his reward has arrived and asks him if he will accept it. He looks at the screen and thinks, the mission numbers look a little strange. I completed the mission, but the counter is still increasing. It's possible that if the number continues to increase, there may be something hidden. I have to take the opportunity to find out when the counter will stop. After some time, they are able to reach the maximum limit, which is double the previous numbers, and we see Gray, who is close to death from exhaustion. But honestly, I like Suho's intelligence. The important thing is that at this moment the system tells Suho that he has received a second reward for completing the task. Suho is very happy that his prediction was correct and asks the system to show him the reward. The first 2 rewards are normal. He regains his health and gains 3 ability points. Suho also sees the boxes that appeared to Jin, which are the Blessed Box and the Random Curse Box. Suho accepts the first reward and immediately regains all his health. He is very impressed by the effect of the reward and decides that if he keeps it, it could be very useful in the middle of a fight. He accepts the second one as well, and now he has 8 points. He is very happy with the reward because he knows that getting more points will be more difficult after leveling up. He can use this mission to become stronger every day. He starts looking for the last reward and asks the system which box to choose. He will choose the random lucky box that gives the player the item he wants, or the random curse box that gives the player the item he needs. He starts thinking and says, if I get what I want, it might be something I don't need, but if I get what I need, something I don't want might appear. What is it that I want? It's very mysterious. Right now I need many different things, but of course Suho chooses the same thing as his father, which is the cursed random box. At that moment he gets the Vulcan's horn item, which is a pair of gloves, and he is very happy with this reward. We see the glove stats, which give 40 attack points. The gloves are made from the horn of the demon Vulcan, and also contain Vulcan's power, which can cause a lot of additional damage. The gloves also have an effect called Rage, which increases physical damage by 30%. The more demonic souls it devours, the more powerful the power of the devil's horns becomes. The number of souls devoured so far is 0. He is happy because he won't have to keep turning shadow soldiers into weapons, and he really needed a separate weapon. It worked out great. Suho put on his new gloves and said, "So you increase physical damage by 30%? Does that mean that every time I increase the number of demons I defeat, that value will increase? It's a bit heavy, so I'll have to invest all my ability points in strength." Suho does just that, and his strength increases from 35 to 43. I just need to defeat the demons and upgrade my weapon. But at that moment the system tells him that there has been a change in his teammate's situation, and that his loyalty to Gray has changed from respect to fear. Beru begins to explain to him why this happened, and tells him that Gray is not like the shadow soldiers, and that he does not have infinite endurance, so he should not pressure him like that. Gray's body trembles, and he cries, "What's wrong? I'm sorry. Let's take a break today. I have things I need to do outside." He leaves the shadow cell, and Suho tells Beru that they said the name of the gang associated with the hyenas is Hyena Guild. That's right. Where should I start the investigation? At that moment someone sends a message to Suho, who is the teacher's assistant, asking for his help. The scene shifts to the Seoul Station square, which is a dangerous area. We see Lim there, who starts calling Suho, telling him to come here, and thanking him for coming. He explains to Suho that he needs to go to the cell today, but no one from the assembly team answers him. They say it's easy, and that no one was there to work. They tell Lim that this is what really happened, and Lim is angry and very upset with them. Suho tries to calm him down, telling him that he will help him. "You're always the best, Suho. Go ahead and put on these clothes so they'll recognize you." He knows he has to wear the uniform. Collection is one of the most dangerous jobs, and he starts explaining to us that he's going to join the excavation team and dig until the hunt is complete, but the collection team needs to gather things from the monsters that the attack team kills, so they need to accompany the attack team and follow them closely. That's why they wear these suits, in case there are unexpected ambushes by monsters, and also because the spikes and scales of the monsters' corpses could hurt them. At that moment, the attack team arrives. One of them asks why there are so few people in the collection team. Lim apologizes and tells him that it is because the collection team that was supposed to come today did not show up. This upsets the person from the attack team, who tells Lim that they are supposed to have a contract, and asks what kind of irresponsibility this is. He asks him if he knows how much they paid the harvesters for the tickets to enter the cell, and tells him that if they fail to show up, he will file a formal complaint with the association and make sure that they are not allowed to collect again. Lim tries to calm him down and tells him that he will work hard and asks him to trust them, but the man is still very upset. So Lim asks Suho to use his connections to help, but we see that Suho is focused on the attack team and looks at them with a stern gaze. He says to himself, "For C-rank hunters and 5 B-rank hunters and 1 C-rank healer." The man who was shouting just now seems to be the healer and the leader of the team. The random cursed box gave me what I need. A weapon that devours demons, the horn. And coincidentally a call from the assistant teacher Lim, and a prison cell belonging to the Hyena Guild. If all this information hadn't coincidentally come together at the same time, we would have started to enter the cell to see if there was anyone inside. We see one of the mist burns, but the strange thing is that this monster is screaming, and it's clear that he's dying. Standing next to him are monsters with strange appearances, and it is clear that they are very dangerous. Suho has an inner feeling that something very dangerous is going to happen. After a short while, we see that the attack team with Lim and Suho have all entered the cell and started fighting the monsters inside, which are lizards. "Hey team, you two are the only ones left, so stay alert and close to us. Hurry up and gather everything," he tells me, very nervous. We need to stay close to the attack team. As for Suho, he is surprised that the monsters that appeared are lizards because he thought that the monsters would be demonic because of the appearance of a horn from the curse box. But at the same time, he is very happy because his chance to watch the attack team fighting will be a very good opportunity to learn from them. He has completed his daily tasks, so he now has many goblin soldiers. At that moment, he starts using the key of the shadow dungeon, causing many goblin soldiers to come out. Because of his intelligence, he is now able to summon 7 shadow soldiers. We see the corpses of the monsters that the attack team had finished off. They think they have finished off all the monsters and decide to rest for a while. The team leader, who was the healer, was very upset that there were only 2 collectors, because that meant he would have to hunt fewer monsters, even though he wanted to hunt more. But when he looked up, he was shocked by what he saw. Shadow soldiers who seemed to be gathering the monsters' corpses. The leader is very shocked that they have already finished gathering the monsters' corpses. These are the monsters he summoned. He wonders what the problem is and thinks that the leader is coming to cause trouble for Suho, but at that moment the leader goes to hold Suho's hand and says, "I want you to be the exclusive collector for our team, please. I'm not planning on becoming a collector right now. What do you think if I told you that I would give you the highest salary in the entire collection industry?" But at that moment, one of the team members rushes towards the commander and tells him that something bad has happened, and that they have found the body of a civilian. The leader is very shocked, and we see the body of this person, which is the body of the mist burn we saw before. The attack team begins to examine the body and confirms that it indeed belongs to a civilian because of the items found on it, but they are very surprised because it is the first time they have heard of a monster that sets itself on fire. Is that possible? Yes, I'm thinking the same thing. It seems that they are the mist burns. Burning fog? You mean a new type of monster that burns with blue flames? Tell me more. He tells him that he is sure of this because they were at the scene of the accident at the Korean University. "Commander, there are more here and more over there." The commander is shocked to see more corpses and asks one of his team if they should stop hunting and inform the Hunters Association about what is happening. But the commander prefers to stay and starts talking to himself, completely uncomfortable with the current situation. But at the same time, the bodies they found are civilians, not hunters, and he trusts his team because they include B-rank hunters, so he assumes that there won't be any major problems. He makes a rash decision, which is to continue inside the cell. Suho is very shocked by this stupid decision. He starts telling them that the mist burns are much more numerous than they expected, but the foolish leader responds by telling him that as the leader, he is the one who will judge the situation and asks them to gather the bodies and follow him. They are very scared because they have to face more mist burns. He says to Lim, You told me before that you are a good runner, so why don't you run away now if something dangerous happens? I have a feeling that something very dangerous is going to happen here. The team begins to go deeper into the dungeon. At that moment we go deep into the dungeon and see flames burning, and hear the screams of many mist burns whose bodies are burning. The same creatures we saw before are watching them burn. One of them starts to speak and says, "The fire is getting weaker. What's the problem with the firewood, you second one?" The second one replies, "We have a problem with the firewood supplier. The firewood store is running out. It seems we need to ask that person for more firewood." Then a third monster speaks and says, "We need to restock the store as soon as possible." The second one speaks again and says, "We only needed the firewood because we had a problem with the hyenas who were bringing us the firewood at the usual rate. This will weaken the production of Stardust compared to other factories. So now we know, guys, that Brokey was bringing people to these creatures, and they use them as firewood to fuel their production. They start to feel hungry. The first one to speak senses something, and what they sense is the attack team, that is with Suho. The second one says they are hunters with good timing because we needed wood. Look, guys, these three creatures will call out to each other. Some of them have numbers, and the first one is the big one on the left, the second one is the one in the middle, and the third one is the one on the right. The important thing is that the third one starts saying that he's going to go hunt the hunters. The second one tells him that he'd rather keep them alive, and he agrees with him. The third one starts grabbing his sword. He heads toward the group. We return to the attack group, and Suho, who are continuing to fight the monsters. They are very happy because their gains today are very good thanks to the wonderful collectors who are with them. The leader says that he may have to use the thing he had hidden, and he takes a ball out of his pocket, which turns out to be Stardust. The team members are very surprised that the leader was able to get this powder, because it is very difficult to obtain. We know from the leader that this powder lasts for a week and increases the rank of any hunter from a lower rank to a higher one. So the captain is very eager to get more powder, because then his rank will be even higher. But we see that the third demon was still with them. He had passed behind the commander. Oops, I forgot that I needed him alive. At that moment the third one hit the team leader, seriously injuring him, and knocking the powder out of his hands, destroying it. One of the team members was very scared when he saw this, but the third one told him that he wasn't dead, and that he was still talking. Anyway, he held him. "Hey, be careful." But at that moment the third one hit another member of the team who fainted. 1-3, a total of 10 people and their enemies. No need to worry about them. The powerful hunters will kill them. At that moment the third one also took out the star powder, and the hunters were very scared. The third one starts to swallow the Stardust, so the team decides to kill him before the Stardust takes effect. They attack him, but at that moment with a single blow from the third one of them is cut in half, and another is seriously injured. The wizard in the team starts to launch a fiery attack on the monster, but the monster is able to avoid it, and reaches the wizard in an instant. He attacks him, and uses his strange power to blind the entire attack team, leaving them unable to see anything. They are terrified that the place is now dark, and we begin to hear their screams, because the monster is moving between them and killing them one by one. After a while we see the third one whose body is covered in blood dragging the body of the leader, who is still alive, and saying, "We got the firewood. Let's go." You must be wondering why Suho didn't intervene. He didn't get involved in the fight, because he was far away from the attack team at the time. A message was sent to him informing him that there was a new mission to rescue the survivors. The system knew that there were people close to him who had been captured by the devil, and he had to rescue as many of them as possible. The reward he would receive depended on the number of people he managed to save. The current number of survivors is 7. Suho is very surprised that a demon has finally appeared. "What is the matter, young king? I am on a mission that has been assigned to me, and it seems that a demon has kidnapped humans from a nearby location. The more people I save, the higher the reward will be. People may be in great danger if I don't hurry. He starts looking for them. He looks at Lim and says, I think something big has happened to the team. Lim leave the cell quickly. What is this? How did you know? The goblins told me they would take you to the entrance. Wait a minute. What are you going to do, Suho? The goblins are attacking Lim. He tells Lim, I'm going to see what happened to them. Lim is very surprised by Suho's response and remains silent for a moment, but then he says to Suho, You're right. My presence is only a hindrance to you. In any case, I'll ask the hunters for help as soon as I get out. Thank you. Then he starts to leave. Suho prepares to enter the cell, and at that moment he summons the wolf from the shadow cell and merges with him, transforming into a very powerful being and wearing his new armor. I have to move quickly. And indeed, Suho starts moving at top speed toward the cell. The scene shifts to a door stained with blood. We enter that place and see a lot of bloodstains. We arrive at the place where the defeated hunters and the demons are. The third one returns and tells his companions, I secured the fuel. The second one says to him, You came quickly. We are close to opening the gate to summon the demons. The third one says to him, This is the quickest victory you've ever had. Okay, to celebrate your quick victory, arrange the firewood for tomorrow. But that's not fair. I'm happy that we're able to renew the firewood for tomorrow. With this, we should be able to produce this batch without any problems. The poison they learn to make using the techniques of the demons is Stardust. The current poison of agitation can enhance a person's magical power, but it has a side effect of consuming the life force of the user. Considering the side effects, the flames from burning the demonic essence crystal soaked in the blood of the demons can be mitigated by replacing it with the flames of the mist burns. All this is thanks to the messenger who told us how to make it. We now know that the messenger brought the mist burns to Earth, and that he brought with him cursed monsters that suck the souls out of creatures and turn them into mindless beasts. Thanks to this, the lowest-ranking demons now have a chance to become stronger. The third demon agrees with the first, but at that moment the first senses Suho's presence approaching them. He moves quickly toward the place, realizing that there must be another hunter left. He thinks it must be a new hunter. At that moment they go to the gate and see Suho destroying it and entering the place. He finds the three demons in front of him. Finally, he has found them, but at that moment something stops him. He wonders if the creatures in front of him are demons, and if the creatures behind him are the mist burns. He wonders why they are burning them all at once, and if it could be some kind of ritual. But he is reassured when he sees that all the survivors are still alive. At that moment we see that the third one has reached him, and is about to cut off his head, but Suho quickly dodges the attack. Suho is surprised to see that it is the third who has killed the hunters he saw on the way. He directs his full force at the third one to push him away. We are very surprised that Suho was able to avoid the third one's attack, even though the third one used star powder to enhance his strength. They decide to help him, and the second one also uses star powder. We see that the third one is in a fierce battle against Suho, repelling his blows with difficulty. Step aside, third one. Suho is surprised by what is happening, and we see that the first and second ones have joined the battle and started attacking Suho, but Suho is very fast and is able to avoid them. Before he realizes what is happening around him, the second one appears behind him and starts using a strange kind of magic, creating lightning bolts that strike Suho with great force. The third one takes advantage of the opportunity and starts attacking Suho because he is unable to move due to the second one. But before the third one can hit him, Suho says, "Arise," and he starts to summon shadows. An army of goblins begins to attack the third one. What is this? The second one is surprised by what is happening, but he grabs the third one and throws him away. The second one says to the first one, "Hey boss, this is the one we saw on the day of the destruction of the demons. He is the heir of the Shadow Monarch, but he is weak compared to the Monarch himself." At that moment we see that the third one has finished all of Suho's summons, and Suho is standing there watching his summons being destroyed. We don't need to be afraid of him if he's not the Shadow Monarch. The three of them start getting ready to attack Suho again. They are much weaker than Brokey, but that's if you kill them one by one. It will be very difficult when they are a team of three. All I'm doing right now is wasting my own energy. If I can revive the demons, should I use that method? What is the method? Let's go back to the past when Suho killed Brokey. At that moment Beru said to him, "Young king, you told me that I should only eat the body enough to read his memories and leave the rest as it is. But the shadow soldiers become weaker as time passes after their death. Is there a reason you chose to keep the body?" "No, I just thought of something when I saw Brokey's last moments. If it was his last night, he would have been full of regret, because he was under the control of the Itarim. He could help me if he became a warrior if I use shadow summoning on him. But if I do that, I must first get permission from Gray." At that moment Gray began to approach Suho as if he had his permission, and told him that he agreed. He asked Gray if he was sure, but Gray had no problem with it. We return to the present, and Suho took out the key to the shadow cell, and says in a scene filled with darkness, "Arise, Brokey. If you regret it, I'll give you a chance to escape. If you want to respond to me." We go to Brokey's body inside the cell, and the terrifying darkness of his shadow summoning ability begins to approach his corpse. Brokey turns into one of Suho's summoned creatures, and begins to emerge from inside the shadow cell in front of the three demons, screaming in a terrifying voice. Brokey has now become a first-level shadow of the normal category. Who is this? Hyena Brokey? He is the one who killed Brokey, and now he is here with me, Gray and Brokey, which means that our numbers are now equal to theirs. I am here too, young king. Beru is very sad that Suho didn't count him, but Suho looks very serious and starts to say, he is attacking the demons. Let's start the fight. And indeed they launch themselves at each other. But then we see that the gate the demons were trying to open begins to open, and an ominous energy comes out of it. A person appears from that gate, and it is a girl. It is clear that we know her well. That girl is Isel from the Castle of Demons, and she wonders who summoned her, and if it was one of the demons who was chasing her. But she saw something in front of her that surprised her, and it was a fight between Brokey and one of the demons. She was very surprised to see one of the shadow soldiers here. So we go back to Suho, who was in a very fierce fight against the third one. Suho continued to block his blows, kicked him very hard in the stomach, hurting him badly, and he starts to prepare a powerful punch to aim at him. But unfortunately, my dear friend, it doesn't happen, because before he can aim the punch at the third one, the second one saves him with a quick attack, stopping him from attacking and pulling him away. You're back. It's very difficult to deal with this combination of demons. Be careful, third one. Thank you. If this battle continues for much longer, my power will be depleted because of my fusion with Gray. And even Brokey, who has become a shadow soldier, is currently weaker than he used to be. The original has reached its limit. As soon as one of them is stopped, we see Brokey clash with the first one. How can I separate the two so I can fight each one of them alone? At that moment Isel starts advancing towards the battlefield and stands in front of Suho saying, "Excuse me, let me ask you something." He's surprised and asks, "Where is Mr. Sung Jinwoo?" Isel is standing there ready with her weapon to fight alongside Suho. Who is this injured knight? Where did she come from? Why is she looking for my father? Then we see Beru, who approaches Isel and says to her, "What are you doing here?" "That voice, are you Beru?" "Beru, where is your body? I'm so happy to see you. Where is Mr. Sung Jinwoo? Who is the human man with you?" Isel starts crying and holds Beru's cheeks. It's a very long story, and I don't understand what's going on between Aizel and Beru. The demons are very surprised that the demon they summon knows Suho, and they are very worried that he will take Suho's side. Let's go back to Aizel, and we'll see that she is very happy that she picked up Beru and is now feeling at ease. Beru tells her that this is not a great time, and that they will continue their reunion later, so she should take care of the demons while she is here. Aizel is shocked by Beru's words, but at that moment they decide to get rid of Aizel and take advantage of the fact that she is currently injured. We now know why they summoned Aizel. They need some of her blood because she is a noble demon to make Stardust. Suho begins to look at Aizel and feels that he has seen her before. He starts asking Beru how Aizel will be able to fight them alone even though she is injured. The low-ranking demons are nothing compared to her power. Her name is Aizel. When our master destroyed the demon world, her family was the only noble demon family that survived. She is the eldest daughter of the Raider family. In human terms, her abilities are on par with those of an S-rank hunter. We see that the third one has started to attack Aizel. S-rank means that I will be able to see how someone of S-rank fights. But at that moment, my dear friend, we see that Aizel has been hit and her weapon has flown out of her hands. And then, to make matters worse, she is shocked. We see Aizel starting to wipe the floor while she's lying on the ground. Beru is very surprised and starts asking her, "How did you become so weak? Even the amount of mana I detected from you is much less than before." We see Aizel starting to cry and telling him that something happened. 6 months ago, most of the demons in the demon world rebelled, and at that time my clan fought them in their best place, but they were unable to quell the rebellion. I managed to stay alive thanks to my family members, but I lost a lot of blood, and this made me lose most of my power. She cried and asked Beru to give her some of his power, so she could save her family, but Beru refused, of course. She cursed him and called him a coward. Those who were standing there watching the couple fight say to themselves, "Now I have two who have lost their strength. Let's go back to the 3 demons." The first one says, "Sisters, did you hear that?" Yes, I couldn't recognize her because she had become weak, but thinking about the existence of someone from the Raider family, this is an opportunity for us to become stronger by consuming the blood of one of the demonic nobles. So at that moment, Suho begins to say as he prepares himself once again to return to the fight, "If I manage to kill them one-on-one, I'll easily be able to take care of at least one of them. Oh, I have a good idea for that. It's time to use the power that came back to him after regaining some of his strength." At that moment, he begins to use his power on Aizel, and this skill is called Harsh Commands, which increases her stats by 50%. But it has a side effect, which is that it drives Aizel crazy. "Go, you useless devil!" Aizel starts screaming at the demons with all her strength. She looks like she's about to explode. Brokey starts to run to fight the first one, and Aizel goes to fight the second one, who is able to block her blow with his shield. Suho takes advantage of this opportunity, and the third one appears from behind her and tries to cut off her head. But at that moment, Suho appears and grabs the third one, pulling him away from Aizel. He stands on the ground and lifts the third one into the air. He throws him far away into the middle of the mist burns, and the third one falls into the middle of the fire and starts to burn. But Suho doesn't leave him like that. He appears and cuts him in half with his sword, and Suho is able to kill the third one. Because of this, his level rises, and the Vulcan horn gloves devour the demonic soul, increasing his physical damage to 31%. Suho is very upset that after swallowing the demonic soul, the damage only increased by 1 point. But the important thing is that we return to Aizel and the second one. Aizel is very angry and strikes the second one's armor many times. The second one is very upset about the death of the third one, and at the same time does not know what to do with the angry woman in front of him. But at that moment, in the height of her madness, unfortunately the skill associated with the harsh commands ends, and because of that she falls to the ground unconscious, surprising the second one, who is still trying to attack her. But at that moment, Suho appears from behind him, grabs his neck, breaks it, and finishes him off. Then we go back to the first one, who managed to push Brokey away from him. When he sees the dire situation he is in, he starts saying to himself, "We are now outnumbered by these worthless bastards, but it's not over yet." We see Brokey starting to get up again, but strangely the first one ignores him and starts running at full speed, using all his strength towards Aizel. I need to become stronger by consuming the blood of the noble devil. He is very close to Aizel, but at that moment his hand hits Suho's leg, who crushes the first guy's hand on the ground. You have no chance here. At that moment, Brokey appears from behind the first one and starts attacking him to finish him off. "Let's go, thief. Are you still alive? You're still alive, you bastard. You're so despicable. And more importantly, I can't believe that there is another human being besides Mr. Song Jinwoo who can use shadow soldiers. Who is he? You're not loyal enough to recognize him. Try your best to remember. You already know who the likely candidate is. It's possible. Let's go to Suho, who is receiving notifications from the system that he has killed a low-ranking demon and that his soul has been reincarnated. This raises Suho's level, allowing him to buy things from the store. Suho breaks up with Gray and is surprised that he can buy things from the store. After Suho breaks up with Gray, Aizel remembers who Suho is and starts crying, automatically calling out to him. "If you were the young king." Suho is very surprised. "Young king, I couldn't recognize you because your appearance has changed. You look exactly like Lord Sung Jinwoo." But at that moment she faints and falls to the ground. Suho is surprised. Everything is fine. It seems she fainted from exhaustion. "Since she didn't die, I don't think I need to worry." "Okay, but I feel kind of sorry for her." Then Suho starts gathering all the survivors and has Beru treat them. He receives a notification from the system that the mission to rescue the survivors is complete and the number of survivors rescued is 7. At that moment, Suho receives his reward for completing the mission. All 7 are safe. That's good. Check the reward. And at that moment, Suho's reward actually arrives. The first reward is 3 points, and the second reward is 700 gold coins. The gold coin is currency that the player can use to buy things from the store. At that moment, the store will open and show him many things he can buy, and he will be very happy with the variety of things he can buy with the gold coins. This reminds him of when he was a child, and his father would give him tasks to do, and when he completed them, his father would give him pocket money. When he remembers this, he feels very happy, but after thinking about it for a while, he remembers that it was his father who gave him the money, and he decides to use the pocket money his father gave him wisely. After some time has passed, we see that Aizel is still unconscious, and Suho is standing in front of her taking out a healing potion from the system. But the system tells him that he cannot give it to anyone else, and that only he can use it. The potion is a low-level healing potion that restores 500 health points. After a while, Suho realizes that he can treat others with this potion, but he must be the one to administer it. So Suho approaches Aizel and gives her the potion, and it starts to take effect. Her skin begins to improve. Then Suho decides to take all the survivors to the Dungeon of Shadows and orders Brokey to gather all the corpses of the defeated demons. Brokey opens the gate and began to gather all the corpses of the demons and went to the gate, but Suho was still there. He still had some work to do. Suho was holding the sword of one of the demons and began to look toward the mist burns. He feels pain and deep sorrow at the sight of them and begins to apologize. He raises his sword and tells them that this is the only way he can help them. He uses his wind/skill and kills them to relieve them of their torment. Then we leave that gate and see that many hunters have arrived whom Lim summoned. One of them hands a report to a hunter about what is happening inside the cell. They found the bodies of the demon monsters and the mist burns, and there were many wounds on the hunters who died inside. They also discovered a half-destroyed basement with marks resembling knife wounds. Of course, these marks are the traces of wind slash. The hunter who had been listening to all this began to wonder if there was something else going on besides the monsters. He turned to Lim and asked him to wait a moment. "You must be Mr. Lim Do-kyun, who told us about what's going on, right? I saw the records of a person named Song Suho in the raid recovery team. Do you know this person?" "Oh, he's a newbie who helps me at work." "Where is he?" Lim is surprised by the question and won't know how to answer. The hunter says, yes, the two of them managed to escape from the cell together, and he accompanied him to a safe place. Since they were both hunters, the best thing they could do was to ask for help from the Hunters Association. Lim is currently trying to cover for him. The hunter standing in front of Lim looks at him, but then he starts telling him, "You did a good job. You followed the Hunters Association's instructions well and made the best decision possible for a hunter of your rank." He turns and looks at his team and tells them to search every inch for any other traces. He is sure that Suho has killed all the remaining hunters in the cell, and although he does not understand why Suho is hiding his rank, he is sure that it is not for a bad reason. He intends to wait for Suho to come and tell him himself. The scene then shifts to the shadow cell, where we see Aizel, who has finally woken up and is talking to Suho, telling him that she had no idea this was going to happen, and that she believes Lord Sung Jinwoo left Earth to stop the alien invasion. Beru also tells her that Jin sent Beru to Earth to break the seal that was on him, but despite this, the genius Suho managed to break the seal on his own. So Suho asks Aizel, "Your name is Aizel, right? We've met before, haven't we?" "Yes, young king, we met during the tutorial you designed. You said you would remember me, but have you forgotten?" "For some reason my memory is a little vague at the moment." He began to try with all his might to remember Aizel, and at that moment the fog in his mind cleared, and he was able to remember all the events and the moment he met Aizel. At first he couldn't remember all the words, but then he remembered everything and began to say, "No, Aizel, you gave up right away when you saw me." Beru began to mock her, and Aizel was completely devastated. Then he began to ask her why she has become so weak and what happened in the world of demons. She starts to tell him everything. She tells him that he must have heard from Beru that Lord Song Jinwoo had defeated the Demon King, and that he was now the leader of the demons. From that moment on, the Raider family became the highest-ranking demons, and they waited for a summons from Lord Song Jinwoo in the Demon Tower, living for several decades without being summoned by Jin even once. However, 6 months ago, problems began because a magical reinforcement called Star Powder began to spread among the demons. He was surprised by the name, and remembered that the demons he had been fighting had mentioned this thing. She continued the story, saying that although the Star Powder had no effect on the high-ranking demons with their great magical power, when low-ranking demons used it, they could greatly increase their magical power without paying any price. This Star Powder became a great incentive for them, especially after the absence of King Gen, the Shadow Monarch. So all the demons began to cooperate with each other with one goal in mind: to rebel against the Raider clan who had previously protected them from the Shadow Monarch. Because of this, the demons began a massive war against Raider's clan, who fought with all their might, trying to protect the demons that the Shadow King had given them. Unfortunately, Raider's clan was too weak to defend themselves against the rebellion of all the demons, and they ended up losing the war, which lasted for half a year. The demons who participated in that war did not stop there. They also decided to drain the blood of the members of Raider's clan who had been taken prisoner, because they were considered nobles. The low-level demons began to suck their blood, because they were considered to be among the nobility of the demons, and because of this they gained insane power. After that, her children and the rest of the clan were sacrificed, and she lost a lot of her power, because so much of her blood had been drained. She saw herself as pitiful because all of her clan had died except for her. She didn't know what to say to the Shadow King, and she was very sad and ashamed of herself. But at that moment Suho begins to say to her, "Well done, Isel." She is very surprised by Suho's words. "I often thought about what my father would have done if he were in my place, and your family had been killed, and your lives were at stake in his absence. I think that's what he would have said. I am also grateful to you for fighting for my father until the end, and I will do everything I can to help you revive the Raider clan. Together, Isel." She is also very surprised by everything Suho says, and she remembers the moment when Jinwoo helped the Raider clan in the past, and his words to her that he would make the Raider clan the first and foremost clan. When she remembers these memories, she starts to cry and smile at Suho telling him that her clan's name is Raider. And here's the surprise. At that moment we discover that Isel is a descendant of the White Flame King, the King of Demons. The system asks Suho if he will make the descendant of the White Flame King his teammate. Isel, you are the descendant of the King of Demons. Personally, I was very shocked by this, but Suho concludes that she is a descendant of the King of Demons because she is the only noble demon with pure blood who survived. At that moment he accepts Isel, and of course as usual what happened before with the wolf happens again. He gains the skill of connection. This skill is called Devil's Explosion, and the charged energy is 0%. This skill allows Suho to receive the energy of the White Flame King and release a very powerful explosion. At that moment Isel is very shocked because she also sees a status window. Suho starts telling Beru that he didn't know this because Gray can't speak, but he thinks his teammates can see his status window too. Young King, could it be that Isel has become my teammate as the descendant of the White Flame King? Isel is very excited that she is the descendant of the White Flame King. After a while goes to one of the buildings inside the dungeon. Let's try the new skill. Are you ready, Young King? They start using the skill. A crazy energy appears and transforms Isel into a form very similar to the White Flame King. A powerful energy swirls around her hands. If this is the skill that connects her to the White Flame King then. But at that moment we see that Isel starts to faint and falls to the ground, her face very pale. This is because she has exhausted all her energy after using the skill, so Suho decides to give her a rest. We see that his hand is still around her, and that terrifying energy is still there. Suho is very surprised that the skill has consumed all of Isel's energy. He wonders how powerful it is. Isel knows that by using this skill she transfers her power to him, so he decides to try it. He starts to measure the distance to the building in front of him, but unfortunately all he does is create a very small dent in the building, and they are very surprised by what happened. I don't think the punch was any different from usual. It's clear that this skill is very different from Gray's skill. We see Gray working on Isel, who is very upset that this is all the effect that happened after she exhausted all her strength. But we still don't know the reason for this lack of effect, which is that the skill's charge didn't increase even 1% and was still at 0. I'm wondering how to charge the skill because it's not mentioned in the system. Young King, I have a request. Can I eat the demons you transferred to the shadow cell? No, I put them there because I'm going to extract their shadows later. You haven't used shadow extraction on demons before, right? Try it now. And of course Beru is saying this because the skill doesn't work on demons. Sure enough, Suho starts to move his hand towards the demons and tells them to arise. But at that moment the system pops up and tells him that the target's soul is corrupted and shadow extraction is not possible. He is very surprised. I can't use shadow extraction on him because his soul is corrupt. So even the Shadow King can't extract it from demons because their souls are corrupt. That's why he summons them through a contract like the one with his clan Raider. That means I can't do anything about the corrupt souls. Okay, it's all up to you, Beru. Thank you. She's sitting there listening to him, upset that they've described her as corrupt. But at that moment, Suho starts to approach her and asks her if she's feeling better and if she wants another dose of the cure. She remembers him and tells him that she feels like she's bothering him. He starts to be kind and says, "Don't worry about it. You probably don't have a place to live, right? You can use this area freely. Young king, you've gone to such lengths to help me." He actually designated this area as a white fire zone and appointed Isel as the owner of the area. "Isel, you're my teammate, so don't worry about the details." But at that moment, Beru starts shouting, "What are you doing, young king? In the memories of demons, I found evidence about the envoy of Itarim." After a while, they are all sitting in front of Beru, who starts telling them about what he saw in his memories. But before he tells them, he wants to tell them about something called Stardust, which is actually distributed on Earth. He tells them that the mist burns are monsters from another dimension. Isel is very shocked and asks Beru if what he is saying means that it is not just a castle of demons, but the only place where Stardust is distributed. He is shocked to learn that the fiery fog monsters are from another universe. Beru consults with Brokey and continues saying that whether it was fate or coincidence, the demons that were devoured are connected to Brokey and his Hyena gang in the field of Mount Gwanak. He knew that those demons were receiving human supplies from the Hyena gang, who would then corrupt them and turn them into fiery fog monsters so that they could use them as generators for Stardust. There are 3 places where they make Stardust, and they call these places Stardust factories. To summarize what he knows, Beru tells them that the Hyena gang used to kidnap humans and hand them over to Hyena Guild, who would then hand over the kidnapped humans to the factory, and the factory would use these humans to create Stardust. Suho was certain that the people behind all 3 places were the Itarim. He wondered if all this was related to the Itarim's invasion of Earth, and if the Stardust manufacturing system had been created by a human. He discovered that there is a human being helping the Itarim emissary who is hiding somewhere on Earth. This person is the Deputy Chief Executive of Hyena Guild Lee Min-sung.
Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below, and let's talk about it.